Hello, friends. We're very late. Okay, we were talking backstage, so
Yeah.
sorry.
What's up?
Also, welcome if anyone's still here. Which there might not be. It might just be the four of us. Well, actually, it says there's 13 people, so someone's here.
I thought they were
Um,
late.
I don't know, but how are we today, Katie? How are you? Good.
I'm good. I can't complain. I'm feeling happy, which makes me nervous because that usually means something, not great's around the corner, but I'm gonna just ride the wave. I have very fun plans tomorrow, so I'm just excited. I'm ready. That's it.
Wonderful. Coda, how are you?
Oh, it's awesome. I'm great. I mean, what else are you gonna be? I finished a book earlier today, and then I didn't read anything else. I just sat here and watched TV. Yeah, that's it. Good
So I
times.
had I had myself muted because I don't think people want to hear. Well, I mean, some people might want to hear the crinkling of the plastic, but it's fine. Nicole, how are you?
Yeah, good. It's Saturday afternoon for me, and I've cleaned my car and listened to a part of a memoir, and that's about the extent of my day. Oh, I edited a video. I did do that, and I got it uploaded. So there was that. But other than that, I haven't really done much because I didn't have to leave the house. I could just stay and just cruise.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Well, I'm great. You know,
Mhm.
adjusting to the move, which yeah, it's been very eventful. Okay, and not because of anything I've done. People have just made my life very eventful. That's all I'm gonna say. It's been fine. It's been chill-ish. Mostly. So yeah, we've been to the library every day this week for story time.
So cool.
Also, there will be a library book haul coming soon because Jean asked for one. And somehow I went to the library and said, I'm just going to sit here with the kids. This was like on Monday. I'm just going to sit here with the kids and they're going to like get their books and I'm just going to read my Kindle. I read 2 chapters and then proceeded to check out like, I think I have like 10 books on my shelf at this point.
Did the kids check out any though?
Yeah, so Ari checked out 5. My brother
Okay.
checked out, I don't know, like 6 or 7. I checked out 7 and then proceeded to finish 2. So then I went, because they were like graphic novels, went back to the library, got the second Lore Olympus volume, read that in a day, and then returned that. And then I got more books when I went back to the library today. We're not going to talk about how many books I have on my shelf right now. Like, it's fine. I'm pretty sure I have like, I don't know. The librarian told me yesterday that I have like 17 books out, and that was before I went back today. So,
How many books are you allowed out?
oh, I have no idea. Clearly more than 20 because at count, I'm pretty sure I have 25 books out on my card right now. Between me, my brother, and my sister, because my brother couldn't find his freaking library card. So I was like, listen, bro, if you ruin any of these books, you're paying for it. So I just need you to know. It's on my card. Don't be stupid. So yeah.
Get your own library card, borrow your own damn library books.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not using my card and my name.
Yeah. So that's fun.
I'm selfish like that, so.
We'll read some comments. Hello.
Hey, Mom.
Hello, Sadia. Thomas. Tomb Raider. What? Mel. I feel like that's wrong. So just tell me if I'm wrong. Thank you. Hello, Emily. Oh, I should probably. I mean, I'm glad that you're reading Bride. I will not be reading this book. I do not read Allie Hazelwood.
I've never read her, so.
But Allie, good old Allie and I, we have an agreement. She writes men in a way that doesn't really vibe with me, so I choose to not pick up her books because I don't really love to give low ratings.
Mhm.
You know?
Wait, so you don't love big men? You like them scrawny?
Here's the problem. It's not really how she writes the men, it's more how she writes the women.
Ah, okay.
Like, I'm really not, like, that's fine. Like, dudes can be, like, big, muscly, whatever. But, like, then why are we writing dwarf women? You know?
She has a size kink. What can I say?
Well,
that's fairly realistic because most women are short asses at the end of the day.
Yeah, like
And-
here's the thing. If I can't envision parts going into other parts without it not making sense to me and it's not monster smut,
It took 6 minutes and we got there.
I'm just gonna have to pass. You know?
Oh.
I've tried. Here's the thing, also, that I don't think people know. A lot of people assume that I only read The Love Hypothesis. I've actually read 4 Allie Hazelwood books, and none of them were my vibe. So I was like, you know what? Clearly, after book 4, it's just time for me to shelf this and move forward. You know?
To be fair, to give you support in this decision, I feel the same way. Like, I did like The Love Hypothesis. I did like it. I will stand by that forever. But I will argue with you that, like, for women who are supposed to be very, very smart, like they work in STEM, like they're very logical people who can think things through, in personal relationships, like in social settings, they could not be dumber.
But they
So that
also,
was-
I also feel like all of her books conclude with the women just like throwing their entire life ambition away. Like, you've been in STEM this entire time, and then it's like, well, I have a man now, so I'm good.
Maybe Allie just wants to quit her job.
She's living vicariously through her characters.
She's like, if I write it, she's manifesting.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
I'm happy
STEM
for
is
Allie.
supposed to lead to
I
something.
can relate to that.
Here's the thing. I'm happy for Allie if that's what she's doing. I'm not trying to manifest the same thing, you know?
Fair enough.
So I'm.
You were right. It was Mel.
Oh, yay. I'm glad I was right.
Look at you go, eh?
Oh, also, these are chatty bits. There's a reason that I don't put in the sprint, or I don't put sprints in this for Saturday, because productivity is not a guarantee. Chaos, however, guaranteed. You know?
These, you probably should call these drinking sprints.
I'm not
Learning,
drinking.
Even though we're not drinking, because then at least people know that we're not focusing on the words if we're drinking, because the words.
Here's
If
the thing.
we're gonna do drinking sprints, I need to pre-plan to not have any plans the next day because I'm a lightweight.
learning too much about me on these live shows.
Oh, I
Also
think
again-
we've learned a lot about each other.
About your hosts, okay? But I can't guarantee productivity. So unless you're very like self-motivated and like mute us every once in a while, I can't help you on Saturday. I'm so sorry.
But if you mute us, you could miss out on some good conversation. Like you could miss out.
really-
Especially as the night progresses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
we
speaking
need
of
to just
drinking
get-
sprints, you know what we should do, Neva? When we do the unhinged podcast, that's what we should do. That's how we should kick it off, because that seems really unhinged to me. You know what I mean?
for all of us to get drunk, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
start
we
with
have
tequila.
we have to do that.
Start the show with a tequila slammer.
Whoa, tequila, we're starting off strong. Okay.
That's what I drink. That's my
boy.
drink of choice.
I'm over here like I'll just get something fruity
We
that will
could
take.
play a drinking game
We could.
on the episode.
I'm into it.
I don't know if y'all want to see me drunk, to be honest. I get very, here's the thing. I get very, like y'all saw me buzzed that one night, but like I get very like when I'm drunk, I like tend to tell people how important you are and how wonderful you are, and
You're just lovable.
Yeah.
why
And
does
just
no
even
one
just
appreciate
the truth.
you the way you deserve? That's me.
Yeah, so in real life, are you a hugger when you're
Oh
drunk?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a hugger anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm a hugger.
I'm a hugger like anyway. Like unless you tell me like ahead of time, like, hey, like hugs make me uncomfortable or whatever. Like I would never force someone to hug me. That's disgusting. But
Yeah.
I will automatically like go in. Like if I meet someone, I automatically like hug them, you know? When I'm drunk, let me just tell you, I will literally hug you and then tell you how much I feel like people should appreciate you and how wonderful you are. It's probably a toxic trait, to be honest. I'm like the ultimate hype woman when I'm drunk. So
Same, Neva.
some people find that annoying for me to be like, I just need you to know that I love you or whatever. But like, I'm a very lovable person in life anyway. I feel like it's very important to tell people that you love them, you know? But drunk me kind of takes it to an extreme, you know, which is fine if you love me through it, you know?
Yeah, in the beginning, I'm very emotional too. I'm like, I love everybody, but then when I need to be cut off and go to sleep is when I start to cry. I'm like, I just don't even know what's. Yeah, it takes a quick turn.
I also here's the thing. One of two things happens to me when you know it's time for me to go home. Either one, I start saying the quiet part out loud. So like if like say that like someone opens the door ahead of me but doesn't hold the door, I'll be or like if I hold here's a better example. This happened once at a bar. I held the door for someone. And like this was in my last relationship. I held the door for someone and they just walked through the door. They didn't like acknowledge that I was holding the door. Like they didn't say thank you. And I was like, wow, you're so welcome for me holding the door. And then my ex was like, we have got to go. He was like, to the car, we gotta go. It's time for you to go home. Gotta
Sounds like Scrappy Neva comes out when people don't.
Yeah. Or I'm like Katie and I start to cry and I'm like, what even is life? What is the meaning of anything? It's one of the two, you know?
When I get too drunk, when I get too drunk and we've gone out, I quietly excuse myself and disappear. If you're smart, you'll find me like an alley or two down the way, vomiting in the alley. And if you don't, either way, I'll walk home after that. I'll be fine.
And then ring your Australian friends on Voxer and tell people how pretty.
That definitely happens before any kind of vomiting and going home.
And then he says, I'm just a little buzzed. Are you?
And all I kept saying,
you are toasted, but we love you anyway. We love you through it. You know what I mean? That's all we need. I just need
and it's so fucking cold. I learned how cold it was in Colorado that night. It was so fucking cold.
Here's the thing.
I don't know what sort of drunk I am. I'm a dancer drunk. Like I get hammered and then I just dance and dance. One night I got carried out of a club because I drank too many tequilas for my birthday. It's my friend's fault. They just kept putting them there.
Right, guys. Again,
I could have refused them.
Did they carry you out dancing?
Brendan goes, it's time to go. And I'm like, okay, I walked. And then I got to the fresh air, you know, when you hit that wall of fresh air after being in a nightclub. And it was just like, woof. And there was like 50 different people. And it was only one person. It was a little bit kaleidoscoped and whatnot. And he carried me home. Like the gentleman that he is. He just picked me up and took me home.
Basically, I just warn people that if they're going to go out with me and we're all getting drunk, that like I am going to tell you how much I love you. So
I sort of just don't stop moving. Like, yeah.
Oh, and I also have to, like, if we like go to karaoke, I have to take a shot before I do my first song,
Mhm.
or you would think that I've never sung in front of people a day in my life. Like I at the place that we used to do karaoke at a lot when I lived in Indiana, I actually got called out by the DJ, like the man in charge of karaoke, because there was one time that I went up on stage and I was like, oh, I'll be fine. Like, I don't need a shot first. Like, I'll be fine. Like, I was like hype. And then I came off the stage and like went to the bar and he was like, I'm gonna need you to do whatever it is that you do to like pregame yourself before you do karaoke. He was like, because we all know you could do better than that. Because I like sing really quiet, like so nobody can hear me.
Mm.
No. Okay. So I just take a shot of Fireball like before I go up on the stage and I'm good.
What is a fireball? I keep hearing this
Cinnamon,
terminology. What is it?
cinnamon whiskey.
It's a what?
Cinnamon
It's a
whiskey.
cinnamon whiskey, yeah.
Ew.
Tastes awful.
Oh,
It sure
it's
does. Burns.
terrible.
It's
It's literally so bad.
got like
And here's-
poison in it or something too.
But here's the thing: is I can hit like a
That
shot of
sounds
Fireball.
wrong on so many levels.
So I'll hit a shot of Fireball and then I'll just like chase it with like Coke, right, or whatever, Coke, Pepsi, whatever.
Okay. So why not just have the whiskey and the Coke and just to bypass the cinnamon?
And then I go up to the stage and I sing, and then the rest of the night all I drink is fruity shit. It's
I
just
used
a
to love
one
Fireball, but I can't drink that shit anymore.
Every
No,
time
I'm
I drink shit like fruit tingles or fish bowls or anything like that,
I just do
I
the
end,
one.
I end up kissing people that I shouldn't be kissing. It's not good. Well, it is. It's great, but you know, like the next day having to explain to partners, "I'm sorry, I was just being friendly."
See, here's the
Go
thing.
down too well.
All of my partners are like very well aware of the fact that like I'm not like a straight human being. I tend to like make out with girls when I'm drunk. Like every girl that I see is now like very beautiful to me. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not gonna like make people make out with me or anything. But if somebody suggests, I will do it. You know what I mean? But like every female becomes like super beautiful. Katie's like, I'm never working with you ever.
The Unhinged podcast thumbnail will just be Neva.
No,
I
here's the
become okay. You know, like the Miley Cyrus era where she was like all the time. That's basically me.
And also, Neva, just to say, no, I'm not afraid. I'm not worried about it. I'd probably be like, so you think I'm beautiful? Oh my god.
Like it would be it would probably like to other people it would probably be uncomfortable, but it's
We don't
just
care.
let
Paul.
me through it. And then the next morning I'll be like, I'm really sorry for anything that I did. And that's fine. You know how they say like drunk thoughts are sober feelings or whatever the fuck, or drunk words are sober thoughts or something like that? That's probably true. But also I'm much more like direct when I'm drunk. Like I just like say things and I don't think about it. When I'm sober, like I'm a very like submissive person most of the time, so like I'm just not gonna be like really weird about it. But now you've all been warned. You're welcome. Hello, Elise.
See you as a submissive person though. I feel like you're already so direct that it's like, so how much more direct we talking?
Okay, so
I was
so
gonna say when I get drunk, I just get louder and louder.
So maybe
louder.
maybe what I mean is I am very direct with my friends. Okay, but with like partners, like in like a relationship setting, I'm not. Like I am never gonna be the person to like make the first move. Like if I think that there's going to be some kind of like sexy time encounter, like I'm not going to be the person to like do the thing first.
You
Which
know
is
what I
funny,
mean? There's a
Neva just
question
puts-
about that in
Neva
the
just
comments.
puts on your black underwear and crosses her fingers. She's like,
yeah, I'm just like, oh, maybe this will happen. But then if it doesn't happen, I'm just like, okay, that's fine too. Whatever makes you comfortable. But also, like, I'm a very bratty personality. So, like, I will say shit to get people to react in a certain way because that's who I am as a person. It's fine. And sometimes it works, but sometimes men don't really pick up on that very well. And they just think that I'm like being rude. Like, I'm not being rude. Like, I'm trying to get you to do something that you're clearly not getting the message. So I just
she's like, I'm trying to manipulate you.
I'm trying to manipulate you into having sex with me
Not
so I don't have to ask. You know? Fine. Hello, Jamie. Hello, John. John is also attempting to read. I applaud you. The 10th Justice by Brad Meltzer. So good. I'm so glad. I love checking books out from my library. Basically live there. I mean, now that I live 2 minutes walking from the library, we also basically live there. You know? It's great. Also, I met some lady at the library today who had her kids there. She's had her kids there all week too. And they're like her oldest is like about Ari's age, I think. And she seemed like a really nice lady. I don't know. She's like 4 years older than me, apparently. She said she graduated 2006. I should have graduated 2010. I didn't. Okay. I got my GED when I was 28. But anyway, and we were like talking and stuff, you know what I mean? Or whatever. I'm pretty sure she thought that I was like 12. And then I told her I was 31 and her eyes kind of like got big. That's basically everyone's reaction when I tell them how old I am, but that's fine. Library books are sneaky. I've gone twice this month, once just to turn in a book and once to get one book, and somehow I was 16. Exactly.
Magical.
They multiply.
Is the rumor I started true that Neva, Katie, and Coda are planning an interpretive dance sequence for their pod buddy read? What?
Is the rumor I started true?
Oh my god, Shannon's in the house.
Shannon
has
we'll get back to you on that. That one might be true.
See, I don't know because Nicole's the dancer, so.
Oh, I don't do interpretive dance.
Well, that's because you don't
lie?
drink Fireball yet.
So when people say interpretive dance, and I don't know if anyone
So,
but
interpretive dance, you want me to be a tree or something, do you?
We
Yeah,
I'm ready to do that.
We always called it interpreprov when we were drinking.
Katie, when I think about this,
interpreprov.
all I see is the scene in High School Musical at the auditions with the two dancers that are like going like this.
Yep.
And then the teacher is like, that was very disturbing. Go see it. That's all I see. And they're like interpretive dancing to a song, like a pop song, but they've like slowed it down and they're like speaking it like poetry, like slam poetry. And it is a little bit uncomfortable.
Interpreprov dolphins.
Yes, Mel. Yay. I was right. Thank God. I'm reading Barbarian's Choice. Wonderful. This is part of Ice Planet Barbarians, for anyone who's wondering.
Nice.
How many husbands are you talking about me? How many husbands am I planning to have?
In terms of marriage, not romantically.
Okay, so first of all, I don't know that I'm planning on having any husbands, to be honest. The older I get, the less I want to be married. I don't know if that makes sense.
Marriage is not all it's cracked up to be.
Like, the older I get, like the less I want to be married. Like, here's the thing.
I've had 3 husbands and
I know that Katie is married, okay, and she seems very happy in her marriage, but of like I only have 2 friends.
You sure about that?
I've
told you
seen
that
a lot of marriages just like implode. like not Katie's marriage. Like Katie is honestly,
She's like,
I look up to Katie, to be honest. You know, she seems very like happy in her marriage and like secure in her marriage and like what she needs and everything. But maybe it's just because of like the environments that I grew up in. Like people don't like, they either stay married and then they're like miserable, right? Or they get divorced and then they're miserable anyway. So I'm just like, what the fuck is the point? My thing is, I feel like I can have most of the benefits of marriage without actually signing the paper. And there are ways now to do like medical things too, because a lot of people are like, well, what happens if something happens to your partner and you don't have like, you can sign things that make it so that you're like legally in charge.
It's a bit different here. In like once you've been together for 6 months, if you've been living in the same dwelling for 7 months, it becomes a common law marriage. You don't need a certificate. I've been engaged for 23 years, like, but
yeah.
We've got mortgages together. We've got kids together. Like we're more committed than that. What that piece of paper or that expensive wedding was gonna cost.
Some states. So in some states, common law marriage is a thing. They got rid of that in Iowa, so like you don't have that anymore. But there are things that you can sign in Iowa that make it so that basically you have the same rights as a married person when it comes to like medical things and like things like that as you would if you were actually married. My thing is I would be okay with doing like commitment ceremony. Like I think that is like beautiful or whatever, but it's not legally binding. I don't think I want to be legally bound to anyone that didn't come out of my womb, to be honest. You know,
you just cross that road when you get there, because you never know what you're going to want until
but I
you
will
want
say,
it or not want it.
Partner-wise, like if you're talking about just like partners, personally, if I had more than one partner, which I've not really done, because technically in my last relationship, even though we were polyamorous, I would have been considered monopoly, which means that I was technically monogamous to only the one person that I was with while they were polyamorous, but that became a joke anyway. Hopefully he doesn't watch these live streams, because if he does, he's gonna be offended.
Well, even if he does,
he
did the deed, so he has to suffer the consequences.
So yeah, I will say that ideally, I think I could only deal with two partners, and they would be very different. They would fulfill very different things. So I would have what's considered like a nesting, in a perfect world. I would have what's considered a nesting partner. So that's like your partner that like lives with you, like to the outside world. You would, I guess, pass for monogamous, perhaps, because like they live with you, like they do the things with you that like a monogamous partner would do, right? And then I would have like the partner that is like my partner, but does not live with me. I would not ever again choose for all polyamory people in my polycule to all live together. I would not do that. Now we could live in the same like property, like if we each had our own dwelling, okay? But all of us in the same house, I personally would not do that again. Just because it can be awkward and like lead to hurt feelings or whatever. But like, I just personally would not do that. So I would have like a partner that lived with me because I like to sleep next to someone at night, but also a partner that did not live with me, but would be welcome to come and go as they please. Just please go sleep at your own house. That's all I'm saying. I'll come to your house with you sometimes if you want, but just go sleep at your own house. That's all. I could also right. I could also have a nesting partner and then a partner that maybe like I don't know how to explain this, but like a partner that I don't necessarily see all of the time. If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
A part-time partner?
It works.
I suppose, yeah. It would be like
Tuesday, Thursday partner?
I don't know. Right. So, like, I don't know how to really explain this, but like essentially, like most of the time in polyamory, like you have like set days, right? That you're with certain partners or whatever. So, like, you know, my Monday, Wednesday, Friday partner, but like they live away. Like just
so like
your own apartment.
The third Tuesday of every third month partner.
No, that's too infrequently.
Oh,
that's just a random that you're checking in with every 3 months.
So as a person who's technically never had more than one partner at a time,
checking on growth. I mean,
I don't know how that. I personally don't know how it would work for me, like, because I know this about me. Okay, I have to have like at least like I have to have like 3 days where like someone is like giving me their undivided attention. So, like I need like 3 days where someone is like cuddling me and like making sure like I'm good, you know what I mean? And like tending to my needs, not necessarily sexually, just like in general. And then I need like 4 days where you're just away. You know what I mean? Where people are like, "Oh, have you heard from so-and-so?" And I'm like, or how is so-and-so? And I'm like, I have no idea. Today's not my day to deal with him. You know? That's what I need as a person.
Yeah, well.
Probably something. But I don't know that I plan on having any husbands. Ask me in like 5 years or something. I don't know. Ari thinks I need a husband tomorrow. She thinks we moved to Iowa for me to find a husband. No. I'm okay. Currently. I'm okay.
I'll answer the question. I plan on having one husband. If something were to happen to me and Adam, I will never marry again. I'm going to go through a lifelong hoe phase and then also be alone forever. Yeah. Like,
so basically, if anything happens to Katie and Adam, Katie and I will become roommates. That's what she said.
That'd be so fun. I mean, no offense, Adam. Nothing will happen. But yeah.
Same here.
What I will say, and so I don't think I'm an expert in marriage whatsoever. My husband and I have been together for 10 years this year, but we've been married for 9. One, I chose a partner that was completely different than any partners I ever saw growing up. Somebody who doesn't react to me when I'm because I'm more of a reactive person. He's a very calm person. So it's about finding the person who like really is the opposite, which I know people don't necessarily say to do that. They say to find somebody who's very similar to you. But if Adam and I were the same, we would have burned this apartment to the ground. We would be in jail. So I don't recommend that. But one of my other biggest tips, and this doesn't work for everybody, it's just what works in my opinion, is when you and your partner have an issue, you don't tell everyone under the sun that you have an issue. You try to work it out together, because once you start bad-mouthing your partner to other people, they're not going to see that person as a good person for you because you're talking shit about them. Now, it's normal to have complaints. Adam and I fight. That happens. Crazy. But like nobody on this screen would know that Adam and I are having a fight because there's nothing to talk about, you know? Not saying that you can't complain to your friends because it's normal, but it's like, remember that what you say, your friends hear and they are your friends. They're going to have your back, in my opinion. So
just elaborating on that, though, you need to have that one friend that you can break down when things are bad. You need to have that one friend that you will trust that won't see your husband in a different light or anything like that, that you can lose your proverbial shit, say what you need to say in case you can't say it to your husband in the way you want to without it inflaming the situation. So,
totally fair. I agree.
Yeah. I have a friend that I've known for over 40 years. I can ring her and tell her that my husband is the biggest cunt on the face of the planet, and she doesn't see him any other way, because then she usually goes, "And have you taken your chill pill today?" Because she knows me.
It's always so good to have a friend who knows.
Yeah, who knows really well that you can, because he could do the same. He could ring her and bitch about me, and she'd say the same thing to him. Really? Princess, you need to suck it up. And she has called him princess before. So,
Damn. Damn.
and he
Yeah.
just looks and goes, yeah, all right, fair enough.
How do you show someone you're with or you're dating that you're ready for bedroom time? I don't. Okay.
I have been very forward in the past, and like, are you just going to sit on that couch, or are we going up there?
Okay.
And play in the bedroom?
Okay, this is where my submission comes in, but also the brattiness. Okay, so like, if I don't feel like my partner is giving me enough, sexy time, or like I feel like we've gone like too many days or whatever, I will not like outwardly be like, I want to get down with the get down. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I just brat out. So I just get like really bitchy and just like
I can see
they'll
that.
say something.
I can see that actually.
Right? So like, here's an example. So like my ex.
This is why men get confused when you're like, I'm not in the mood.
So
Because they're like,
no.
are you sure?
So
Because last time.
My partners know that I'm basically like, I'm very like open about the fact that I'm like a sexual being. Something happened after I turned 30, and I just, the drive that I have is unhealthy. Like it's just stupid at this point. So like my partners that I've had are aware of this. Okay. So this is just like an example, but like there's definitely been times, like there were times like in my last relationship where like he would say something that really shouldn't have pissed me off, right? So like he would say something like, maybe you should go take a nap, because I was acting like a little tired. And I was like, maybe you should take a nap because I'm not tired. And then he would be like, why would that, like, and then I would be like mad that he told me to take a nap, right? Like I would be pissed off about it. Like I would be like, wow, I can't believe that you would suggest to me that I take a nap. Like, how rude of you. And then he would be like, okay, clearly something is the matter with you. I just get very mouthy. So I'm not going to say like, I'm not going to be like Nicole and say, are you just going to sit there, or are we going to go do the thing? Like, I'm not going to.
Not under the influence. There's no way those words are coming out of my fucking mouth. I'm telling you now. But if I'm drunk or on maybe some other substance when I was younger, those words were coming out of my mouth. So yeah, I'm very friendly when I'm under the influence.
Okay, if I'm drunk, then yeah, like
very direct.
If I'm drunk, but if it's just like a normal day, I'll literally just like be pissed off that like that we're not having sex until we do have sex, and then I'll be fine for like 3 or 4 days. And the thing is like there's
Does that work out for you usually?
Yeah, it does. But here's the thing: I also tend to date very dominant men. I think that's why it works out for me. Because there's an understanding between like me and the men that I've dated that's just how I deal with things. I'm not saying that it's healthy. Okay. My therapist says that maybe I should use my words. No, thanks. I am a very bratty personality.
Is Alyssa's by any chance your therapist? Because she's also saying that you need to use your words.
No, Alyssa's is not my therapist, but I'm not surprised if Alyssa's would tell me that. Here's the thing.
She's also rolling on the floor laughing, so if she is, she's a bad therapist.
I'm like I'm aware that I'm a very bratty personality, but this is why I can't date like super soft dudes. Because I've tried in the past and like I make them cry, and I don't mean to do that, but I'm just a very like, it's just who I am as a person, I'm just a very bratty personality, so I tend to be attracted to very dominant men who will be I
don't like men that don't stand up.
I mean, they will like look at me and be like, I know that you're bratting right now, so I'm gonna need you to just settle down. Like, calm down, ask for what you need or want or whatever. It doesn't always work. But at the end, like, I get what I want. Is it manipulative? Yeah, it is. And I'm aware.
I just love how you're telling the men that they need to use their words and tell you what they need, kind of thing, but you don't tell them what you need.
Exactly. Exactly. Because
As good as I say, not as I do, Katie. Come on.
It's like this guy's supposed to know that it's a good thing. It's a good thing you date a certain type who understand what you need from your actions. That's all we're saying.
because I need a partner. I mean, this is with women too. It's why I don't tend to date women, because I tend to attract very feminine women. Like, I tend to attract women that are like me, and that doesn't work, because then we're just constantly just like frustrated all the time. It just doesn't really. With men, I tend to attract the opposite of who I am. So I tend to attract dominant men. I mean, there's an exception of the person I was talking to you all about backstage, but I don't count that person. But in reality, like the people that I would date, I tend to attract very dominant men who will just be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what is wrong with you? Which is what I need, you know? It sounds weird when I say it. Okay, just trust me. But yes, Coda, eventually I do get what I want. It does usually work out for me.
Hey,
and if it doesn't work out, then I go pout until it does. So either way, it works out eventually.
Well, I'm different in this answer. When my husband and I lived with roommates, we had like a secret like code. We had like a thing that we knew where we'd be like, okay, it's on like Donkey Kong. But I'm a very blunt person. So now that we've lived alone for quite some time, it's just, I'll literally just come and be like, so you got time? Like this is a time frame. It's either happening or it's not happening. But that's just because I am the more dominant one in our relationship. Like I am the one who like just kind of takes care of everything. So
see, I could never. I already have to adult enough because I have to take care of Ari. Like I'm not trying to.
So see, like I know everybody's different, but like so there is like a correct answer to this. And it's like whatever works on the type of person that you're dating. I mean, unless you're like Neva and you date the exact type of person who knows
I have to
what to do with your
because here's the thing. This is gonna sound so bad, and if anybody that I ever dated hears this, they're gonna be like, "What the hell?" Because they probably like none of them probably identify this way. I need like a dominant man who also has like daddy energy. I don't know how else to like explain this. Okay. So basically, like you need to like the dude needs to know when to be soft because like there's sometimes, you know, a bitch just needs a hug, but also be dominant when it's called for, you know? Does that make sense? Probably not. It probably makes sense to no one but me. Please hold. Come on, friends.
I mean, just because you can't see them.
Okay.
I was just so confused. I was like, do we know this person?
No. I mean, unless I get like a message from somebody who's like, why did you just block me? Because that's what I did. I blocked them. Oh, Katie added me on Facebook. That's nice.
I did. When you mentioned your last name, I was like, perfect.
We're now friends. So all of the people on my screen, I'm now friends with on Facebook. So we're officially friends.
Isn't that great? To find Katie now.
Could I send you a friend request? Nicole.
Oh, did you already?
Oh, did you? Okay, Nicole, I'm just gonna creep on you and find your last name, and then I'll add you too.
You probably you might not be able to find me, mate.
Well, maybe I'll creep on you and find you that way.
I'm a little bit sick.
Fireball. Listen, that's fair. I don't get drunk on Fireball anymore. I just need everyone to know. I literally just take a single shot so that I can sing karaoke. So
you have to find me through Neva or Coda because
do.
I've got to go in and unblock myself.
I'll send her over.
Yeah.
To be honest, I kiss people I shouldn't without the liquid encouragement. I mean, that's fair.
Found you.
There you go.
Oh wow, that was easy.
Listen,
I might not.
grew up
I might
on
not
the
have said
internet.
that.
Mutual friends.
Yay! I'm way more outgoing and extroverted when I'm drunk. Like everyone's my best friend. Me too, Mel. Me too.
I like to sing when I get drunk, so there will come a point in
too,
the
Sarah.
night where I don't want to talk anymore. I just want to sing, and if you're trying to talk to me while I'm singing, I might get mad at you. I might get mad at you, or I might just
So
ignore you.
here's the thing about me that I feel like Coda and Katie should know, because I think they plan on coming to visit me sometime in the near future. So the way that my autism works is that I have it on live stream. It's different. In real life, there's too many sounds and it overstimulates me. So I always walk around with one AirPod in, like only one. But that also means that my I have a tick where I sing to myself. It's like a soothing mechanism. And I used to do this at Taco Bell. Like when I worked at the Taco Bell in Indiana, I would sing to myself like on the line. Like I would just be like singing to myself. And they all got used to it. But it's off-putting to people at first because it sounds like I'm talking to myself, like I'm actually just singing to myself. But I sing so quietly so that people don't know that I have any singing ability at all, because I don't want you to ask me to sing to you. I'm doing it for myself, right? But once I get comfortable around people, I will have said headphone in and then just sing out loud. And I won't think about it unless someone says like, hey, can you shut the hell up? Which has happened to me before. And then I get really like self-conscious about it. And we'll never sing in front of that person again. So. You're welcome. You know,
all or nothing singing.
like either you're going, like if I'm comfortable enough to sing in front of you and then you like bash my singing, that's it. Like you will never be graced with it again unless we go to karaoke and I'm drunk. So
We're definitely going to karaoke.
Or taking drugs, so don't know how I would be. I'm crazy enough on my own. That's fair. That's fair. Never been drunk, but I've been tipsy. I get talkative, then sad. Clearly me and Katie also do this. So
You would fit right in. I would love it.
Just
Otis is gonna have to take care of us, Neva, when we get drunk.
I know,
I try.
right?
I do. I'm like a great like drunk mom.
Perfect.
Like as soon as shit hits the fan, I sober up instantly. Okay. You'll be fine. I'll hold your head up.
Wow, Sadia, thank you. I think. I don't know what I'm your spirit animal, like which part of
All
this.
of it.
All of it.
But I'm glad to be someone's, spirit animal, soul sister, like whatever. Like once I was crying in an Uber because I thought if Trump won, he would bring back slavery. I don't want to be a slave. Listen, I did that not drunk. So.
That sounds like more than tipsy to me, Kiana.
I did that not drunk, to be honest. Like, that's just me, but that's fair.
So random thought.
Yes.
It just happened. I want to say like today or like yesterday or something, but in Minneapolis, we will no longer have Uber or Lyft now because we passed like a thing where they would have to pay their drivers minimum wage, and they said straight up no.
So they're gonna get rid of it in a major city?
They won't do it here.
Wow.
They're going to leave Minneapolis.
Wow.
So I was like, but yeah, which I mean, to be fair, a lot of drivers though say that like, they don't really make a lot of money at all. And it's so dangerous when you think about it, especially in the cities. I can't imagine.
Yeah, that's
plus some of that money goes back into your gas tank, right? Like
it's but honestly, we still will have taxis. We just won't have Uber or Lyft, which is so weird, to be honest. But
What's the minimum wage up there?
they would have to pay them like $15 an hour.
Well, there's,
I mean,
Yeah,
with
because
inflation, $15 an hour is still not super livable, to be completely honest. So
it's not. No, like it's not.
Uber and Lyft want you to use it as a side hustle and not as like an actual source of income.
But
Which
the
I
bottom
think is
line is
really
minimum wage is minimum wage. So if you're going to offer somebody a job, you have to pay a
That's
minimum
all.
wage. And if they don't want to pay a minimum wage, that means that Uber and Lyft will probably be out here soon too. Then because
But I think you
our minimum
also, if I remember correctly from looking into Uber and Lyft like before, like for other people that wanted to drive for them, I'm pretty sure that you sign, like when you sign up to drive for them, you're considered an independent contractor, which means that they don't have to pay you anything. Like they don't. You see what I'm saying? They don't have to give you a minimum amount because you are an independent driver for their company.
Yeah, you still have to pay someone minimum wage even if they're an independent contractor.
they have what they have in their contract, from what I understand, is
because they definitely don't have to in Indiana or in Florida.
From what I understand, they have it based on how many miles you drive and based on like the ride, if that makes sense. That's what I understand.
And then
but
it's up to the person that calls the Uber or the Lyft to tip you.
Mm-hmm. When I was a waitress, I made $3.25 an hour. And so tips were my life. But I worked, thankfully, at a very nice like supper club. But I mean, still, when you think about it,
in Indiana for a server, like a waitress or whatever, they only have to pay you $2.15.
That's
right, because
insane.
because you are supposed to be working off of tips. So Uber and Lyft, I think, are similar to that, where they don't have to actually pay you whatever your minimum wage is.
Yeah, but the thing is, like at least in like a restaurant, if your paycheck doesn't meet minimum wage, they have to pay you the difference. If it doesn't meet minimum wage with your tips, they have to meet minimum wage.
Not in Indiana, they don't. And that could be because it's a
might just depend on the contract. I don't know.
Florida is like that. Florida's like that too. It's why I refuse to be a server in either state.
Well, we have there's a lower pay for our servers here too. But if it doesn't meet, if you don't meet the minimum wage, if your tips don't amount to the hourly minimum wage, I'm pretty sure that they have to meet you in the middle. Like you don't have to pay back what's over it, but.
Oh, and just to clarify, in case for some odd reason somebody here is from Minnesota like me, we have until May 1st. I don't use Uber or Lyft, so it's not relevant to me. But if anybody else does, we have until May 1st, it says. And then they will be gone, so.
That's crazy. I wonder if they'll get rid of them in other states where the minimum wage is high. Because
well, like, again, this is just
where it's much higher than 15. Like Washington and California have.
But this is just something we passed here in Minneapolis. So, like, it's the point is like here in Minneapolis, if Uber and Lyft exist here and they want to do business here, they have to pay their drivers minimum wage. That's something we make clear. That doesn't mean that it's something.
Maybe that's the difference, Neva. Is it's a state law there that
it's
they
a
have
state
to
law. It's not a It's not a federal law. So it's Minnesota.
Maybe it's different for restaurants too everywhere. Crazy.
Yeah, it's Minnesota passing. It's Minnesota.
What is the minimum wage there in Iowa?
Here, $8.20 or $8. Well, I know federal is like $8 something, but I think state for here is $7.25. But almost everywhere here, including fast food, you're gonna make more than that. So, like, I'm starting my job at $15.50, which is 50 cents more than what I was making at the Taco Bell in Indiana. And she said that she starts crew members at $13. So, which is the same as what I started at as a crew member at the other Taco Bell. But like I know like the McDonald's here in my town, they start you at $12. The Taco John starts you at either 12 or 13. Like nowhere around like where I live starts you at $7.25. Shannon, I think you and the Literary Guild are in league where Pod is concerned. They stopped carrying the Nora Roberts book I wanted, but they still offer Pod. It's a conspiracy. Hi, Brooklyn. We're supposed not here also, but she's at the pub having lots of wine and watching the footy. Wonderful. Have so much fun. The husband question was for all 4 panelists. Okay, well, Katie said she only wants one husband.
And my answer is the exact same as Katie's, except for I already lost my husband, so I'm just going to be singles now. I don't have any plans to redo that or try again with that. You know, if something happens. But I'm not.
Coda's in his host.
Start dating.
Coda's in his host stage. That's what he's just eventually.
Yeah, maybe at some point, but yeah, there's probably not going to be any of that for a minute either.
What about you, Nicole? How many husbands?
Well, I'm already on to my 3rd, so if this one ends, then I'm done. So I've gone through. Well, actually, technically, I haven't had a husband yet because I have actually never been married. So I've had 3 serious partners. Let's put it that way. And I've been with my partner that I'm with now for almost 23 years.
So as long as he doesn't play any ASMR, he's got nothing to worry about.
Yes, he won't flip my kill switch. Although sometimes he flips my kill switch. And that's when I walk through the house and go, "Hey, Brendan." He's like, "Yeah, what? Fuck you." And I keep walking.
So Brooklyn plans
and
on
he goes,
having
"Nice, well done." That's the extent of our arguments because we're pretty good mates. So like our relationship is different than I guess in a lot of ways because our relationship has been a distance relationship for many, many years because the work he does, he's worked away from home. So I've always I stayed at home to look after the kids so he could go away and earn the money to take care of the house. So when we first got together, we were together 24/7 for the first 3 years. And then he went away because we had our own business. So we were together all the time. And then for 10 years, so just as Nerali was born, he got a job where he was driving road trains and stuff like that. So big 18-wheelers that had 4 or 5 trailers behind him. And he was doing that for 5 to 6 weeks at a time. So a lot of our relationship has been on the phone. So yeah, we've just got a very weird relationship. A lot of people don't understand it because we can spend copious amounts of time away from each other. But that also comes down to both of us being very loyal people and very we trust each other. I trust him not to do the wrong thing and he trusts me not to do the wrong thing. And yeah, we still have our moments, but we don't argue because we're always talking on the phone or texting or stuff like that. So yeah, but if something, God forbid, happened to him, that'd be it. That'd be done. And yeah, so my three relationships that I've had, I went out with a guy that was older than me, a guy that was the same age as me, and then I went, fuck this shit, I'm going for someone younger. So I robbed the cradle, 6 years younger. Works. A trait.
Yeah, I'm still over here pursuing older men. So
that's how I rolled too.
And apparently the apple doesn't fall far from the tree because my grandmother was also 6 years older than my grandfather. So yeah, there you go. Family trait.
Well, Brooklyn plans on having 2 husbands, Owen and Harry Styles.
Yeah.
Whenever Harry Styles figures out that he is now.
I know, I love this answer.
Well, I didn't know we could pick delusional husbands because in that case, I'm going to have several.
Oh, delusional husbands.
Oh yeah.
I'm starting with Eminem, and then we're going to Hugh Jackman. So like,
She went from blonde, hairless to
yes, it's
brunette,
very,
Mary.
it's very weird. Okay, I'm aware that my taste in celebrity men is strange, but I also don't care. So
You know what? If there's celebrity men involved, I'm still not marrying any of
I mean,
No, you
that's
don't marry them. You just have a good time with them, and then kick them to the curb.
Exactly. See, exactly. And then get out. First,
Yeah.
eat for my breakfast because you're rich, sucker.
Thomas almost got married many years ago. That was a bullet dodge. I now refer to her as she who must not be named. That's how I refer to my last relationship. He who must not be
Well,
named.
Thomas almost married J.K. Rowling.
Well, I almost married Baltimore, so here we go. I had one husband. Shannon had one husband. May he rot, but not sure I would take on another. I think it's better to just recast your husband every 3 to 5 years. Tiana is on her second and last marriage. Hello, welcome to the party. Don't you think it works better when women have more than one man in their romantic life? Women tend to have more stamina. For this woman, yes. Here's the problem.
You know, no, I'm gonna just no. Too much.
I mean, how much stamina are we talking that you need like a guy for like every 3 hours?
This is why I would just need 2.
I don't think I could go through the training, the training of the husbands, like
the
only
men,
way, like having to retrain them. Just fucking get with the program. It's not that freaking hard.
This is why I feel like I'm okay. So I'm demisexual for anyone who doesn't know that, which basically means like I have to have like an emotional connection to somebody in order to like have sex with them or like be in a relationship with them. But also like once you screw that up, we all know who I'm talking about. Once you screw that up, like that's it. Like I'm not gonna have sex with you ever again. Like it's not gonna happen. No matter how much my body might still want you, like my brain can't do it. So I feel like ultimately for me, if I had more than one man in my life as a romantic partner, they would be people that I already know. You know what I mean? So like they would already know like how I work anyway. So like I would have the one nesting partner and the one that's over there. Who comes around, you know, occasionally, like we go on dates, we have sex, whatever. But that's like the only way it would work for me. Like I couldn't have like 2 nesting partners. I would throw myself off a roof because then that means I have 2 men in my face all the time. Couldn't be me. Absolutely not. No. No. I could have like one that was a nesting partner and then one that like was over there but like texted me every day. I could do that.
I mean, whether you want to take this literally or figuratively, the answer to this question is it really just depends on how many holes you need to fill in your life at the same time.
Well, I have a lot of trauma, so
ain't that the truth?
Mel is loving all the kitties. Did not have good role models in my family. Everyone is miserable, even if they're still married. That's relatable. I'm a serial monogamist, but I also tend to have one foot out the door most of the time. So I am not a serial monogamist. Okay, I am polyamorous, which is fine for me. But I tend to. What is happening? Okay, sorry, my comments I got stuck. I tend to be in survival mode all the time. Like I've never been in a relationship where I felt comfortable enough to just like go with it. You know what I mean? That's how I know that I haven't been in the right one. Because like every single relationship I've ever been in, I've constantly been like, if this happens, then this is the plan. If this happens, then this is the plan. If it explodes this way, then this is the plan. You know? Because like Nicole, when my last relationship imploded, well, really it exploded. It just went everywhere. Nicole was very worried about me because I was just like, oh, I'm fine. Everything's fine. This is my plan. And I'm numb to everything. And she was like, that's not healthy.
I get numb like that too. When
that's who I am as a person. Because ultimately, like I was like, if I let myself break down about this, who's gonna take care of Ari? No one. All she has is me. So then I just automatically, I'm just like, cool, we're gonna do this and this and this. Oh wow. And then eventually, you know, I like had a breakdown and Nicole was like, do you feel better now? And I was like, not really. But I mean, at least we can move forward. You know?
Sometimes you need that breakdown, like you need to have that breakdown to get clarity on that. So because if you don't have that breakdown, you can get stuck. And you're in that.
Numb isn't good anyways. I mean,
no.
I get needing to be numb to take care of shit because I'm the same way. Like I get numb and I'm in the headspace of like,
oh yeah, and that's survival mode.
Right now, I get numb, but it can backfire on you because like there's things you need to not be numb about.
it always backfires on me. That's why like I went like what was it, like 2.5 months where I didn't even speak to him. Like Nicole was like, have you spoken to him? And I was like, no. And she was like, what about for Ari? And I was like, oh no, I haven't spoken to him at all. I mean, I think I spoke to him through like text message, but I don't count that because like I wasn't speaking to him. And I was like, oh, I text him or whatever about Ari. And she was like, maybe you should speak. And I was like, oh no, I don't. I was like, if I never speak to the man again, it'll be fine. And she was like, no, I don't think that's really gonna work. I mean, now I speak to him and it's cordial, you know.
But that's all it's ever gonna be because he did you dirty. So
what?
And if he is watching, it's his own fault for the conversation that is happening because he did you dirty, and you should have not done her dirty. That's it.
Well, and here's the thing.
And you're probably lucky that I actually don't live in the United States because you'd be crying.
Last week he asked about a whole bunch of like the bookish friends that he like about, and I mean I gave very like basic answers because like none of the bookish friends are
we're pissed off, dude.
He was like, I was like, oh yeah, you know, they're fine. Nicole's fine. Brittany's fine. Rainey and Kelsey, they're fine. And he was like, they hate me, don't they? And I was like, well, I was like, people that you don't even know dislike you. So I don't.
It's a pig's ass pork.
Well, the thing is, though, I think what pisses me off the most about the whole situation is he knew that you were doing live streams that whole weekend, and he chose to be an ass when you didn't have the luxury to break down.
Oh yeah,
and that is a selfish act, and he should not have done that. There's a time and a place to explode someone's life up, and doing it while they're live on the internet is not the time or the place. So, of course, some people are going to get a little bit pissy, especially the girl that had to do the thing by herself. And had to listen to the conversation.
Because Nicole heard the conversation, and then I I tried, not successfully. I like pulled myself together long enough for her to be like, "Are you ready to go live?" And I was like, and she was like, "Are you?" She was like, "Are you good? Like, are you?" And I was like, and then I just like started crying. She was like, "So you can go take a nap." Like, you can't do this by yourself. And she was like, Brooklyn will be on at some point. Go sleep. Like, go take a nap. Whatever. And like, because if it hadn't been for Nicole, probably I would have made myself do the entire 24 hours. Like, I would have been on everybody's live stream for the whole 24 hours. And I would have just looked like, well, I looked like a crazy person, to be honest. That
was the one where I had to do I did 8 hours.
Yeah.
That was the weekend that I did. I was
I slept through it. So
yeah. But you needed to do that because you needed to get your shit together to be there for Ari. So it's the least I could do.
Mel says I just smack my hubby's butt and say, let's get busy. Works like a charm every time. That's fair. That's great. I
hated it when my husband do that. Like, in my piece of meat, like, fuck off. Or he'd walk in and he'd go, looking booby there, babe. And I'm like, is that pickup line? Is that what you use out in the real world?
Shannon said, I became more forthright after my divorce. Now I don't have the patience for small talk or lunch dates. I often say, don't you think we should stop the chit chat and go to the bedroom?
See, they need like a grinder for straight women. Because that's essentially what a grinder is. It's like, hey, you want to see my dick? Why haven't you sent it yet?
Not Kiana asking, are you going to be my husband?
Say what?
Not Kiana asking her husband, are you going to be my husband tonight?
Ooh.
In order to get sex. Kiana. Oh Lord, what is happening here?
Oh yeah, that was about that guy.
Use your wrench.
Yeah, because Kiana does have a wrench. She could have. Yeah, she was confused. Kiana was confused about the wrench. I only just started collecting all my YouTube buddies on Facebook. So far, I think I still just have Coda. I definitely talk to myself. I usually don't sing in public, but at home alone, I sing to my cats and talk to them a lot. Yeah, sometimes I do talk to myself.
Sometimes you just need an expert's opinion when you're talking to yourself. You just need that expert's opinion.
No one knows me better than me. You know what I'm saying? So
my cats love it when I sing to them, or even when if I start singing and Nimbus isn't in the room, he comes out as soon as I start singing. And they each have theme songs that I've made up for them. You know, they have jingles of their own.
What's going on with Uber?
So what I was saying when you were gone a little bit is that because somebody had mentioned an Uber, I think Key did, and we were talking about how in Minneapolis they're getting Uber and Lyft are leaving because we passed a bill where they would have to pay their drivers minimum wage, and they said no.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, they would lose a ton of money because our minimum wage is $15 and they pay them pennies.
I like our system here. You have no choice but to pay minimum wage. You can't pay anything. The award wage, they call it. You can't pay anything under that. Otherwise, you get raked over the coals.
Yeah, minimum wage laws are defined by each state. So it's up to the state as to how they're going to pay you in your jobs. Individual cities can also pass their own, which is true, as long as they meet the minimum set by the state. So some Colorado cities are better than others for things like that.
Right, like Denver has a higher minimum wage than the rest of Colorado, for example.
I mean, I feel like
wouldn't it be easier just to have it as a federal law, and then like everybody has to toe the line instead of
there is a federal that mandates the minimum across the board, but it's still really, 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 really low.
What is the minimum? Federal minimum?
865. The last that I knew is the
wow. And for what age is that? Like my daughter.
That's for everybody.
Everybody. Oh, really?
That's for everybody.
Our wage for a 14, 15, or 15-year-old, because that's when you can start working, and that is $11 an hour is their minimum base wage. But if they're casual, then they'll have a casual loading on that, depending on the business. And then it goes up, and I think it keeps going up until you're 21, and then by that stage you can be on like $20, $30 an hour, depending, maybe even $50 an hour, depending where you work and what industry you work in, because award wages are industry based here. So if you're in a serving, so she's in fast food, Hungry Jack's, which is a burger place. And yeah, I think she's on like, she brings home each week, she's on anywhere from $600 to $790 a week. And she's only 17.
Yeah, no. So the minimum
That's
wage
fair.
is for everyone. There's not like, we don't have wage based off of like your age.
Yeah, so while you're a teenager, each year, every birthday, your wage goes up until you get to 21, and then it's reached the maximum. But then, like, it'll depend what level you are in the company too. You'll have a different wage bracket. So if you're a say you're a manager or whatever, you'll be on one sort of age bracket, whereas your crew member will be on something different. But it's still the award wage, and it still means that you can survive. And we have free medical as well. Yeah, we also have unions. So basically, I mean, I know you guys have got unions too, but if workplaces start to try and step out of line, the unions really step in here and really shuffle things up.
Are we visiting Neva, or are we picking her up and moving to Australia?
Moving. I would love to move, honestly, because the more you grow up in the United States, the more you realize that the idea of like the dream that they try to build here, it's not real. It's all fake.
No, it's not. It doesn't seem real to me. Like, looking on the, and I don't begin to say that I know anything about your country or anything like that, but just from what I've seen and heard and talking to people and whatnot, it just sounds like it was a falsehood that's just to try and keep everybody down. Like,
It's
that
only
system can't work.
It's about control.
Yeah,
it's only
like
good
it's a
for the people
controlling environment.
Yeah, for the people on the
And
top,
like,
it's good for them.
This is nothing against the people of the United States, but the country itself is very narcissistic. Like, that's how it comes across, their whole controlling system.
What?
All
Yes,
those lovely white men that play in the sandbox, they're all so great.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Considered working as a therapist, Katie?
Shannon, thank you so much for this question. I have, actually. So when I originally went to school, I got my degree in human development and family studies with a minor in psychology. And my goal was to get my master's. And I was going to actually be a marriage and family counselor. That was actually my goal. And then I decided I was A, too lazy, and B, too poor. And so I quit, just like everyone else in life. And instead, so yeah, but no, I did want to. I think therapy is wonderful. Therapy really helped me as a child navigate through my own problems. And I wanted to be that person for other kids, because kids especially need therapy. And a lot of times they don't even know that they do, because they can't process what's going on and the things that they're exposed to at such a young age. So I would have loved to, but it's actually very complicated to get into therapy. And let's be honest, most therapists also need therapy. So, yeah.
My therapist has a therapist. She's told me before. So make sure you find a therapist that has a therapist. You know what I mean? Probably. I feel like
Nimbus is my therapist.
I swore off dating over a decade ago, but I also have a caveat that Tom Hiddleston could be an exception if we actually got along once he's decided he's interested. Alicia says she would be down for 2 husbands. This, I think, was about how Coda is going to be single forever.
No, it's when Coda was talking about holes. Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely the holes.
That man is enough for them. Women, on the other hand, I wouldn't mind a few wives. Me? If you're talking about me, Adrian, I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily always looking for a way out. I just always make sure that I have a plan if things don't work the way that they're supposed to.
But that also
a lot of that is from childhood.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of that is also from childhood trauma of not. I mean, my mother never made me feel secure. May she rest in peace, but she did not. So, and there were a lot of instances where my mom would be like, "If you don't want to, well, it's fine. If you don't want to listen, then you can just leave. Like there were a lot of like instances of like her trying to like kick me out and stuff like that. So I feel like because in my friendships, so here's the difference. So in my friendships, like when I've lived in like roommate situations with people that are my friends, I don't feel that. Like I'm not constantly like on edge about like, oh my God, what if they decide that they don't want to live with me anymore? This seems to be like in romantic relationships where the other person attempts to be financially controlling.
But the thing is, going back to your childhood, when the first person that you're supposed to love and be all the and everything to you is your mother, when she portrays you like that, and then you don't have that security as a child, then you automatically become that adult that is always having that plan A, B, C, and D, because the people closest to you when you were a child devastated you and made you distrustful. So this is normal behavior for someone that's been through that trauma. Rightly or wrongly, it's still normal behavior. It is a normal response.
And like this last relationship that I was in, the reason that people, when I say people, I mean like people in my family, are so angry, upset, hurt, whatever about everything, is because ultimately we all looked at this relationship as being like end game, right? Like being like the long term, like this is the one that's going to work out type of thing. And so then when it didn't I mean, I always had a plan, because ultimately I always have to have a plan because I have Ari, right? So like it's not just me. Like I can't just go like live in a cardboard box and call it a day. I have to have a plan. But I feel like if I was able to find, the relationship for me, that I wouldn't necessarily, like I wouldn't feel like that. So, hello, Jess. Just got home from work. Man, being back at work already makes me want to take another vacation.
I tell you, every day. Every day I get to work and I'm like,
not to be serious, but I think as women we're trained not to give voice to our emotions or ask to help because we're supposed to worry about everyone else. Yeah. And I'm also like, I mean, some people don't believe in all this, but like I'm an Enneagram 2. Okay. I automatically put everyone else's needs in front of my own. I get yelled at by Nicole for doing this all the time. Because I will like literally put myself out into destitution to make sure that everyone else is taken care of. Like Nicole will be like, listen, ma'am, you have been sprinting 15 times this week. Are you sleeping? Are you drinking water? Are you eating food? Are you doing the things that you need to do? You know what I mean? Because like if someone asks me to do something, I'm automatically just like, yes, I'll do it. Even if I have no capacity to do the thing.
I think as women, we do that anyway. And there are some men out there that do exactly the same thing as well. Like they are people pleasers as well. And I think that just is a maternal, like our maternal instinct is to make sure that we're there for everybody. On that. But I can assure you, when you get to menopause, fuck that shit is a common phrase that comes out of your mouth. Fuck that shit. I ain't doing that shit no more. You can just kiss my lily white ass, Missy. I'm out.
The federal minimum wage is absolute minimum. States can set anything at or higher than federal. Cities can meet or exceed the state. Yeah, it really is about doing that. Because we
have some like we've got our fair share of problems here and all the rest of it. Like cost of living is more expensive here, but that is comparable, and it is a controlling system here as well. But at least we have that, medical, like everybody has a fair chance of getting medical done. Yes, we might have to wait and stuff like that, but you don't have that added burden. Like some of the things that I've seen, like where it just would send people bankrupt. Like to have a baby and cost like $30,000 to $50,000. That's just
like
ridiculous.
Crazy to have a baby.
I've had 4 children. It's cost me $3,000, and the only reason it's cost me $3,000 is because I chose to have one of my children in a private hospital. That was the only, and it cost me $3,000. I was there for 3 nights. That was everything included.
Well, that's not even considering like if you have to do like a NICU or something like that. Like I don't know how parents don't panic.
Yeah, here your ambulance ride costs $1,000.
Yeah,
I thought it was 2, but my bad.
It costs
2 some places.
Yeah.
It cost me almost, if the insurance hadn't covered it, it would have cost me almost $3,000 when I had. So I had 2 ambulance rides when I was pregnant with Ari. One was because I fainted at work because Ari sucked all the iron out of my system and took it for herself because she's greedy. It's fine. And the second ambulance ride was because I was home alone and was having what I thought was labor. It ended up being false labor, but I was home by myself. So like the only option I had was to call an ambulance. And it would have cost me $3,000 for one and $3,500 for the other. So
that's why I told Adam, I was like, if you can't get me there in the car, just let me go. It's my time.
Just let me lay here.
So you shouldn't have to make that choice.
But see, I won't go into medical debt. It's once you're in it, and I'm not interested in that game because like think about it. If something happens to me, and then like Adam is left with that kind of debt to carry. I don't want to be that kind of person that does something like that to somebody. That seems insane.
Yeah.
Yet they won't legalize euthanasia because there's too much money in keeping people alive.
Of course.
Well, if they did legalize it, you can bet your ass it would cost a pretty penny.
Right?
Yeah. Possibly.
My hope is just as that my hope is to move to Australia someday. I studied abroad in Sydney back in 2016, and living there for 6 months was actually a dream.
Oh.
Sadia's mother is a therapist.
Is she looking for some clients?
It was about
It's on the screen right now.
businesses have more rights than people do. A lawyer friend said people should turn themselves into an LLC to get the rights that the a-holes are taking away from us. Yeah. Sadia might be moving to Australia. I moved to Australia if y'all didn't have scary spiders and snakes. Listen, I'll deal with the scary spiders.
You know what? There's bug spray. Look, that's all I'm going to say. Like, I live here, and like I've lived in the middle of the bush. There's bug spray.
And all I have to say is, for people that are afraid of the spiders and snakes in Australia, you just haven't lived in Florida, because Florida has some weird shit. I'm just saying.
I just don't like snakes. I can handle spiders all day, but snakes fuck me up, dude. I can't even.
I actually get like
my feet up onto the couch.
You know when you get butterflies, like you get those, like the butterflies in your belly. My whole body does that if I see a snake.
Me too. It's like it's not even a fear. It's like a disgust. It's like. Yeah. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, I just can't. I think they're so fucking gross.
Slimy little motherfuckers. And they're not even slimy. Just
when it makes no sense that their jaws can unhinge and like they shed, like nothing makes sense to me about them.
There's nothing right about them. That's for damn sure.
Like, I
don't think it's delicious if you've ever eaten it. It's pretty tasty.
Yeah. I've lived in the middle of the scrub here, which is the bush woods. Okay. And I can honestly say in my 54 years, I have seen with my own eyeballs, I have seen only 6 snakes. In 54 years, that's it.
I guess that's not too bad, but with my eyeballs, I don't know that I've seen very many. Not in the wild have I seen nearly that many snakes.
I've seen 2, but they're tiny. But I'm like, hey, it's time to leave. But yes.
I mean, in my opinion, and like only good snake is a dead snake, but a lot of our snakes here are protected. Like why? I don't know.
I mean, what if it's an accident?
Well, you know, while I'm holding the shotgun, it sort of went off and the snake got in the way, officer. Oh, the axe sort of slipped out of my hand because I was panicking, officer.
The rattle scared me, and I dropped the shotgun, and it went off.
And it went off.
Yeah, so this is
I mean, if you're shooting a snake with a shotgun, there's not going to be much left of it anyway.
this is also
like,
a good
here,
point.
buzzard.
Since Katie was talking about medical debt, like if you have a student loan and then you die, like whoever your next of kin is has to pay it off.
That's not true. They don't have to. If you're married, they'll go after your spouse.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're responsible for it.
But your next of kin, they can't make you pay it.
I mean,
unless you have an estate,
but they expect them to do it.
They'll try their damnedest, but just everybody, just so you know, you don't have to pay it, even if you're their mother or their child.
I'll just get divorced from Adam before
all of their
I
debts
pass
should
away.
just go away.
Yeah, because all you have to do is financially divorce yourself from your partner, and then they're not responsible for your debt.
That would be ridiculous. I'd feel so bad for Adam. He didn't even finish college, and then all of a sudden he's got to take over my student loans. That'd be the ultimate revenge.
You like when you file your taxes, you just file injured spouse here, and then you don't have to worry about your other person's debt.
Like
hottest coast. Oh, the worst spiders and snakes.
I think you should talk about spiders and snakes.
Eastern browns are probably they're the deadliest. You've also got taipans as well. You've got, a huntsman spider is not a poisonous spider. You want the huntsman spiders around your house because they eat the bugs. And you want the geckos, the little lizards hanging around your house because they also eat the bugs and the mozzies and all the rest of it.
Yeah, the spiders don't bother me. Geckos, as long as they're not crawling over my feet or anything. They're cool. It's all right. They can lick their eyeballs. That's cool.
Listen, they just don't want Americans to move to Australia. That's why. I think that it's hyped up. Not really that bad in the regular places. I can handle spiders and snakes. It's bees that do me in. I agree with what Chris said about chaos. It's hard to break that pattern when your family thrives on it. Yeah. The wink wink. Not the wink wink. I want a pet snake, but I don't want to feed it bugs or insects. I mean, you can also buy mice.
You can feed it rats and mice.
There are people that piss you off.
Yeah, there's that too.
Well, it depends how big of a snake are you getting.
Just don't let it sleep with you.
Ooh. I do think it's cool that the kangaroos have a 6-pack.
Kangaroos are insane. Those things, they're that stupid that they jump out on the highways. They don't care that there's a semi-trailer coming. They'll just jump out in front of it, and their friends will follow.
I mean, deer do that here, and then they just stop.
They're stupid critters. When we traveled, we did 8,000 kilometers in 8 days. We went from our home to Uluru and then home again. And we filmed it. It's on my husband's channel. And when we got to Cooper Pedy, we were driving along. There was these 2 kangaroos in the middle of the road. One was a big one was a little one. And I'm whacking my husband going, hit the little one, because we had nowhere to go because it was a drop off either side, or, and big ass cows were in the paddocks there, because a lot of the ranches up there don't have fences or anything like that. So the cattle just, roam around in the center of Australia and whatnot. We ended up hitting the small one, and it just folded itself up into the grill of our car. The kids are in the back. Anyway, I've got out and Brendan's looking at it, and we've pulled it out and checked that it didn't wreck the radiator or anything on the car. And then it was on the side of the road, and I've picked it up, and I've gone to fling it off, and I didn't realise that Neroli was awake in the back. And she's on Instagram telling all her friends that I'm like doing this lassoing with the bloody kangaroo to flick it off the road. All this sort of stuff. But they're just stupid. They just stand in the middle of the road. They don't move or anything, or they jump out at you. And then when we got to Roma, which was on the trip on the way back, a kangaroo hit our car at 9 o'clock at night it was. And we got out, and like, I shit you not, there was like a dent in the car, and that was the base of its tail that had hit.
Well, that's like deer here, man. Like the other day, my friend came out and he like picked me up, and we like went to go hang out or whatever, and like we were driving through, you know, the country, because I live in the country, and there was just like a dead deer in the ditch on the side of the road. Because like clearly someone had hit the deer, but like deer just like run out into the, and then they just look at you as your car is moving toward them.
We were calling Roma the kangaroo killing fields. They're trying to kill us, not us kill them.
I hit a deer one time, but it's a pay-per-view story, so we'll have to save that for Unhinged episode.
Unhinged podcast. Which Unhinged podcast? You know, now that I moved,
when we have our drinking session, remind me, and I'll tell you about hitting.
Yeah, I have to be back home.
Today, I'll tell you, rabbits are just as stupid as kangaroos. They run out in the middle of the road, stop, and watch you coming at them.
Yeah.
Like,
they don't even bother to get hit by the wheel and die instantly. They like to hit the undercarriage and go out the back.
Well, here's the thing. Now that I moved, and once
I mean, if they die, it's like rabbit ping pong.
When we do the Unhinged one, I'll tell you some stories about roadkill in Australia.
Yay!
We will also
we need to plan that too. It's
yeah. So Neva. Once Nicole gets home, now that I moved, because I needed to be moved.
Yeah, I go home tomorrow.
And Nicole gets home and settled. We're all gonna get together, because I feel like we should also have. I mean, now that I'm apparently, you know, your friendly neighborhood kinkster or whatever. That Leandra's sprints by accident.
What happened?
Okay, so when Leandra was doing, was it TBR-a-thon?
Oh, when all the stuff happened in the...
So there was sprints. Maybe it wasn't TBR-a-thon. Maybe it was something else. But I was invited to sprints, and it was like a whole... Maybe it was girl bands. Might have been girl bands. But we were on sprints, and she made a comment about there was like a character that referred to their father as daddy. And she said that it bothered her because the way that it was written in the book, it was only like one time that this happened. So we were talking about like the different instances as to like when you would refer to your father, like the man that helped make you, as daddy, right? Because I said like the only time that I really like it doesn't bother me, like it doesn't like kind of skeeve me out a little bit, is if it's like a Southern woman or a Southern person rather, because a lot of people like from the South refer to like their parents as like mama and daddy, right? So like I was like, that's, you know, the exception. She was like, yeah, except it only happened this one time in this book, like, and it was like an instance of her being like in fear or something. And I made some like offhanded quip about that I don't call my father daddy. I mean, I've called men daddy, but they weren't my father, is basically what I said. And then and then I was like, and then it became that I was the resident kinkster. So I feel like we should do like a, I don't know, some kind of like unhinged BDSM 101 thing. And then Katie can take notes.
With like, show and tell?
I
mean, objects, not action.
Yeah, I mean, I have things, I guess, that I could use for show and tell if you really want to know.
Smacking herself.
I would honestly, if I had to show the things, like I'd really be outing myself, like really outing myself. Like y'all might never look at me the same again. Like Katie might be like, you know what?
People out there want to know what those things are for.
I just want to know when I got labeled the sweet innocent one. When did this happen?
I don't know. I just feel like
I don't know. I don't feel like I ever feel that way about you. I always felt like, you know.
Here's the thing.
I think Katie has a shadow side that she's just
normal
to embrace.
Girl.
I mean, me too. Because considering that the last time that I talked about kinky stuff, she was taking notes. Like
notes.
I'm always interested in learning. Listen, I have a curiosity
that's what I meant by
mindset.
normal girls. Like, aren't you guys all just horny?
I mean,
not everyone, no, not but it's just one of those things where it's like I resent though, where people are like, "Oh, Katie's gonna be so shocked. Katie's gonna be so surprised." Poor Kate. Katie's a little cultured, okay?
Or maybe Brooklyn would be like, you know, it was nice being Neva's friend, but she's a little wow for me, you know. Although I think maybe
I feel like everybody's down for. I mean, they're already here.
Everybody's got a kinky side, haven't they? Well, the people I've ever come across do. Maybe that says more about me as a human.
Alicia says I don't mind the lizards, so for whatever reason, Insta started pushing all things Australia, and it was pure torture.
Yeah.
Coda.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shannon.
Kangaroos are scary. Damn. Wow.
Hey, we eat our national emblems here, you know, like the kangaroo and the emu are on our flag, and a cat at arms and all the rest of it. We eat them. There's that many of them. They're like, kangaroos are a pest. They are an absolute pest. And they do culling and all that sort of stuff, so to keep them in check.
Yeah, exactly. Kangaroos are to you like deer are to us. Like, because deer will run out in the middle, especially if you live like in the country. They will just run out in the middle of the road and just stand there and stare at you as you're coming at it. It's 60 miles per hour. And I understand that like there is a thing with deer where the bright lights, it like stuns them. So they can't.
Deer in the headlights, yeah.
But also, why did you run into the road when you knew there was a fucking car coming? I'm just wondering. You dummy.
They just don't understand road.
Or they're just like the rest of us, where they didn't ask to be born and they're ready to go. No.
It could be. It really could be. He tried to cross the road and then there was a fence on that side of the road. He tried to cross back and there was a fence on that side of the road. He's like, who keeps putting these fucking fences in front of the trees?
They're probably like, you know what? Nobody was hunting today, so I just decided to take myself out. Thank you.
Have you seen Open Season? That's a funny cartoon.
With show and tell. Again, Coda, guys. Here's the thing. I know it doesn't, well, I mean, it probably seems this way now, but I know like when I first started on the internet, it didn't really seem this way. I'm a very like open, if you ask me, especially if you ask me direct questions, like I'm a very open person about like sex things, because my whole life growing up, like my mom, well, not really my mom, but my dad, so like my dad that I live with, my stepdad, was like very much like that person that was like, if you have questions, I'd rather that you like, yeah, it's gonna be awkward, but like I'd rather you ask than like try to go like experiment on your own and then like hurt yourself, you know, or like get yourself into a situation that like you can't get out of, like type thing. So like I grew up my whole life being able to be open about it. So like if people ask me questions, like I will tell them, but then sometimes I feel like I always preface things with, don't ask me any question that you don't actually want the answer to.
Yeah, but that's like anything in life. If you don't want to know the answer, don't ask the damn question.
Yeah, that's
right.
why
if you ask the question, don't get all offended because you didn't really want to know.
Right.
Yeah.
So like if you ask me the question, I'll give you the answer. But then you can't be like, oh my God, I can't believe that's the answer, and like be appalled by it.
Yeah,
And you also offended by the answer.
That's why it's perfect when people actually do lead with, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" Because then you get the opportunity to say that. It's like,
Mm.
as
Say-
long as you don't ask anything you don't want to know the answer to.
Yeah, and
then
when people
we'll be
ask me
good.
that, I will say yes, but just make sure that you want the answer first. Because
You make sure you want the answer because it's coming.
I can't do daddy. Yeah, I can't do
you see,
daddy either.
that is fair. So, and I also want people to know that I don't just like go around calling like every man that I know daddy. That's uncomfortable.
Sure you do. Sure you do, Neva.
Absolutely.
This
There
is a safe
are
space,
Down the street
Neva.
to a guy, hey, daddy.
Absolutely. In my life, okay, in my
This
personal
might explain what's going on in the background with certain people thinking that they're gonna be doing the thing.
no.
Is this what you do? You walk around saying daddy to people?
No. In my life, there have
Only
been
if she's not getting it fast enough and then she's whining, "Daddy."
so okay, in my life, there have only actually been 2 men that I've ever referred to as that. One of them, it's never happening again, even though they made a joke about it just last week. Not cute. The other person, it does happen, but it's not necessarily like a known thing. So like if you know, you know type thing. But I also have to be like in the right mindset for that. Like I can't just go around like doing that, like just being like, "Hi daddy," like all the time. It's very weird. I don't know how to explain this to people that are not part of like that side of the kink spectrum, but it's like not a thing that you just like walk. I mean, I still refer to the one person that I would refer to as daddy by their name. Does that make sense? Maybe.
Like if his name was Bob, you would call him Daddy Bob.
No, I would just call him.
And I didn't get it.
Sometimes you can still call them their name, and then in certain situations,
Okay,
you call them
different.
daddy.
Yeah.
In a different
Sometimes he's Bob,
way.
sometimes he's Daddy.
Daddy.
He's
Right.
never Bob.
He's never Daddy Bob or Bob Daddy.
Daddy Bob.
Yeah, but also
He's
there-
one or the other, but never one of the same.
I will also say that
What if you get confused? Like it's like when you mix up your kids' names. You're like, "Get out of here, Dad, Bob, Dad, Daddy, Bob, Bob."
I will also say that there's a weird stigma around this particular side of kink, where people assume that if you're told by a dominant to call them daddy, that you just do it. There's a deeper, at least for me and the people that I know that are on that side of kink, there has to be a trust there, like a deep trust. Like I would trust someone to be my dominant way before trusting them to be my daddy. I don't know if that makes sense to people that are not like part of kink, but it's like a different kind of trust, because like I can trust you to be like dominant over me, but it's like a deeper thing for them to be like a daddy dom. You know,
a daddy dom is a more intimate type of
right? Because I have to trust you not only to be dominant, like in and out of the bedroom, but I also have to trust that you are going to
take care of you, make sure you're fed,
take
make
care
sure
of me,
you got some
make
spending
sure
money,
make sure
bills
like
are
that my
paid.
feelings.
That's what a daddy does, right?
Does what? Oh yeah, like make sure that
Her shit.
yes, like that all of your needs are met. So like I don't trust every man that I ever date. Like I mean, obviously I can feed myself, okay, but like I wouldn't necessarily trust every man that I've ever dated to fulfill certain needs that like most adults would be like, oh well, you're an adult, so you should be able to do that yourself. You know what I mean? But I've also had one, because there's only been 2. One of these said daddy doms has we've technically been in a relationship before, like we have, but most of our relationship has been not, what am I trying to say? Not like a sexual relationship, like not like being together. Does that make sense? Some of it has, but most of it has not.
Most of the
So
time it's been platonic, is what you're saying.
right. So it's more like, hello, I'm just making sure that you ate today. You know? Or like, you're acting weird. Are you okay? What's up, Katie?
I have a question before I forget, because I will. Okay, so can you have a daddy dom who doesn't need to be called daddy, or are daddy doms people who just prefer to be called daddy? I'm just
Sure.
curious.
You can have, so the DDLG dynamic, which would be in kink, it's short for daddy dom little girl. Now, obviously, not every person that is in the DDLG dynamic is going to identify as a girl, right? So it's a more of like a caretaker thing. So your daddy dominant does not necessarily, your D type does not have to be called daddy. That's an agreement between you and your D type, your dominant. So some want to be called daddy, some prefer like sir. I know people that are in the DDLG dynamic that call their D type like almost like made up names, like they've made up whatever, right? For their D type. It's that's a personal thing between you and your dominant. Because even in like a more traditional like dom sub dynamic, or like master slave dynamic, right? Not every slave is referred to as that. It's just the category in which you fall into. So like if you're in like a master slave dynamic, which I don't like that because that feels like uncomfortable to me, but essentially like usually a submissive who identifies as a slave is like a serving type of submissive, right? So that can take different roles. Like maybe the submissive stays home and is like what we would consider like a housewife, right? Or like a house partner who makes sure that, and that can range from anything. That can range from like making sure that the house is clean and dinner is made before your partner gets home. That can be like removing your partner's shoes every day after they go home from work. Like it varies, and it can be very extreme. Like I know submissives that they like allow their dominants to use them almost like furniture. So that's a degradation kink. So that's like if I had a partner and I was their submissive, right? And then like I let them use me as like a footstool. Like so like I was like down on all fours with their legs across my back. I am not that person. So no. Okay.
I'm like, nobody's sitting on me unless they're
But there are submissives that allow that. Just like there are submissives that like to wear leashes, right? I mean, it goes into a lot, but as far as what you refer to your dominant or submissive as, that's between you and your partner. So no, you wouldn't have to call your daddy dominant. You wouldn't your daddy dom. You wouldn't have to refer to them as daddy or mommy or whatever. That's just, I think because it's more because a daddy dom is more of like a caregiver role on top, but also like daddy doms don't have to be sexual either. They can literally just be the caregiver part. without actual and I mean that the caregiver part also leads into like punishment and stuff like that too, but it doesn't have to be like a sexual thing. You see? Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? Maybe
You did. I'm learning.
Yeah, it will be a Patreon thing. The Unhinged podcast is Patreon only. If you want to partake in that, that is offered at the $8 tier, which is the highest tier, because I feel like this is gonna
It's
be very
just $8, you guys. It's just a combo at McDonald's once
It's
a
just
month.
a cup of coffee. No,
It is just a cup of coffee if you go to Starbucks. Too.
right.
it's a carton of eggs.
The card.
Riley said that she'll take the title of sweet girl
Perfect.
because she's innocent. So you don't have to be. Brooklyn is down for a teaching session. I'm sure Brooklyn is. I'm sure I'll teach everyone a lot of things. I'm kind of scared. I don't know if I'm qualified for this. The squirrels were unaliving themselves in 2020. This is true. But I also like squirrels. I don't know who Larry Parker is.
I googled it and it looks like it's some kind of like lawyer, I guess.
Oh well. May he rest in peace. I mean, I don't like to hear that anyone's died. I don't know who he is. But no, may he rest in peace, honestly. That's sad. Would Neva prefer to say something like absolutely not? Neither of these things. No.
Daddy Yum Chops? Like,
so here,
Shannon, what are you Googling?
Ears. So
then step away from the keyboard and Google.
So I personally, other than the two people that I've already mentioned, I personally don't think I would ever call anyone, like any other partner, daddy, just because it's the trust thing for me. You feel what I'm saying? But I have referred to other partners as other things. Like I have referred to other partners like as sir. I'm not about to call anyone master. Okay, that's not happening. But I have referred to other partners as sir, which when I've done that, which this is a kink thing too, you tend to use like uppercase letters, right, for your dominant. So you would use like an uppercase S if you're typing out like something to your dominant and you refer to them as sir, or you would uppercase daddy if you were doing it that way. I don't know. Most of the time I just use pet names, if I'm gonna be honest, like what everyone else would use, like babe or hun or whatever.
Schnookums.
The only time that I get really like testy about what people refer to me as, to be honest, like when it comes to like a D type, is if I'm being a brat. Okay. Because a lot of like every D type I've ever had has called me some variation of like, I think it's because of like who I am as a person. Like I'm a very like girly person, like in life, not on live streams ever, but like I feel like I'm always in my pajamas on live streams. But like in life, like I wear a lot of like pink and I like try to do my hair and like all that crap, right? So every D type I've ever had has referred to me in some way as like princess, or I've had a couple that little girl was okay. Some that made me uncomfortable. So I was like, don't do that. A lot of them have referred to me as princess, right? So I would say like some stupid shit. Like I would like being a brat, and I would be like, that's baby princess to you, or something like just stupid. You know what I mean? Just dumb. Otherwise, like you can just call me by my name and it's not a big deal. I do not like being called by my full name. This was a problem I had in my last relationship. So he consistently referred to me as G, which is the first letter of my full name, because I do not like being called by my full name. It makes me feel like I'm about to be scolded, to be honest, which is why I used to go by Neva. Because like if you yell Neva, like I don't feel like I'm about to like get my ass ripped. You know what I mean? If you refer to me by my full name, I'm like, oh my god, what did I do? Because like growing up, no one referred to me by my full name unless I was in trouble. So like, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't prefer. Yeah, if
Oh,
you need to
just
call me
anyone?
anything, you need to call me Coda, and then there's really no need for you to call me by my name during this. I mean, unless you get
Well, Coda
really.
doesn't want talking during any kind of sexy time anyway. So, which I will say this, I do not usually refer. There have been very few instances where I have referred to my D type as daddy during like the act of sexy time because it doesn't really flow very well, in my opinion. Some people like they get off on that, and that's great. And I'm not here to kink shame you, but for me personally, it feels very weird. I mean, I don't really even say names because it just feels unnatural to me. To say,
I mean, I'm
someone.
down for like communication. You want to change positions, do something.
I mean,
different,
communication.
not
Yeah.
do something. You know what I mean? And then, like, of course, you're allowed to like grunt and moan. But
Okay,
otherwise,
but
why
I'm
are we
not.
having a conversation?
But what I'm saying is, like, you know how like some people like they will like say their partner's name while doing the thing. That doesn't feel natural to me. Like, I'm not gonna call you. I'm not gonna. I know who I'm having sex with. I'm not gonna say your name. Like, who am I
And
trying?
and the neighbors know my name too, so you don't need to holler that. Just grunt and moan like a normal
That's what I'm
person.
saying. I don't like me personally. Other people that like it, that's really great for you.
I'd much rather you grunt too. By the way, that's hot.
Anyone else? Does anyone else want to call their partner father love or daddy yum chops?
That's a hard no from me.
If I call someone daddy yum chops,
I think
die of laughter.
I think if I called my partner Daddy Yum Chops, he'd be like, "You can go now.
Yeah.
We're done. We are done."
Laughter.
The question is, do the men want to be called father love or daddy yum chops?
If they do, they need a different partner other than me because it ain't.
Well, my partner doesn't like pet names at all, so
Daddy Yum Chops is better than Daddy Pork Chops. I think
no.
But why is it better?
Because Daddy Pork Chops sounds, I don't know, different.
Okay, Coda. Okay.
It sounds like it's full of pork. Just saying.
You don't like pulled pork?
I love pulled pork.
Then what's the problem with that?
Oh my god. That's like my favorite meat. What are you talking about?
You would want to call them daddy pork chops.
Daddy Pork Chops at least sounds delicious.
Sure.
Daddy Yum Chops does not sound delicious. Daddy Yum Chops sounds like something on the menu at a place across the tracks that you're not going to order that because you don't know what's in Daddy Yum Chops.
But how do you not know they're not saying daddy yum chops like yummy pork chops? How do you not know?
I don't care what they're saying because we're across the tracks and their menu's weird. So we're
Katie,
leaving.
do you have an opinion on father love or daddy yum chops?
So like the reason I asked earlier too is because like with my question is like I have this thing where it's like any relation to like a father role, if somebody says that, it immediately gives me the ick. Me personally, just because I have such a dislike for my father that it would be an immediate no for me. But I have no issue with people who like to do it. But for me, it immediately would be like, and we're shutting down.
So I will say this. BDSM for a lot of people, including me, okay, so I'm like taking ownership of this, is a way that a lot of like it's a way for people to cope with their trauma. Right? So a lot of people that I personally know, including myself, that are in a DDLG style dynamic are in that dynamic because whatever happened to them when growing up, right? They weren't necessarily taken care of like they should have been, right? But ultimately, it just comes down to like communication. Because obviously, if it makes you uncomfortable to call your partner daddy, you don't want to go into a dynamic, even if your dynamic is a DDLG dynamic, even if that's the way that it works, that doesn't mean that it has to work the same way for you that it works for me, because it's not going to. Because also there are people, well, like me, that identify as littles in the DDLG. Now, for me, like the little side of me is not at all a sexual being. Like if I am in little space and you try to have sex with me, I'm punching you in the jaw. Like it's not a thing that's gonna happen. But that is it's like the best way for me to describe it is like an age regression. So like there are times I don't allow myself to be seen on the internet at these times because I don't need judgment. But there are times where I come off to people as like very much younger than I actually am. So obviously I'm 32, right? But the reason that I make jokes about how like, oh, people probably think that I'm 12 is because in little space, I hit about that age. Like the way that I act, and sometimes like the things that I say or the activities that I partake in, like I've actually had people say like, wow, you're acting like a 12-year-old right now, which like, okay. But in working with a therapist who is BDSM friendly, I don't think she's actually part of like the lifestyle, but she knows enough about it to understand how to counsel people that are. My trauma got really bad. Like my parentification got really bad at about 12 years old. So it stunted my growth from then on, right? Because from then on, like I was kind of just a miniature adult. So that's the age that I go back to. If I have to be like very comfortable in order to sit in that. But that's why like I can sit with Ari for hours and do nothing but watch like Disney movies. When like most adults are like, I mean, that's cool and everything, but like no. You know? But that wouldn't necessarily be how you would approach a dynamic like that. So if you approach a dynamic, like you might call, we'll just use your husband as an example, right? If your husband's your D type, then you may just like refer to him by his name, or you may refer to him as sir, or you may make up some like stupid nickname. Like
that's not stupid to you.
Mr. Floppy Pants or something.
How did you know?
Mr. Floppy Pants.
Have I ever tried to be a dominatrix? Okay, so have I ever tried to be a dominant? Technically, yes. But only to women. I can't be dominant to men. Like it's not a thing that I can do, which is why I can't date very soft men, because the brat in me comes out and then they get like really offended. So it's not a comfortable state for me to be in, to be the dominant person though. So I will say that. It's not a comfortable state for like me being the dominant is not a comfortable state. Like I don't choose to do that. I'm not what you would refer to as a switch where you can be one or the other depending on your mood or your circumstance or whatever. I'm not that person. I don't know what part this is about. Is this about not having to call people daddy? You don't have to call them daddy. That's not like a thing that you have to do. It's not. That is simply between. I use daddy because it's easy and because people know what I'm talking about when I do that. When I'm talking about BDSM. But there are a million names that you could use, or you can make up your own, or you can not use one at all. You know? There are some people that have degradation kink where they're dominant, like if they're in a scene or whatever, their dominant would like refer to their submissive by like not nice names, like names that we wouldn't want to be called, like bitch, whore, slut, whatever. That's how they're referred to. Now that's an agreement between them and their D type, which is fine for them. I could never. I mean, I'm not saying I've never been called those things. I have, but my degradation kink doesn't go deep enough for you to refer to me as that all the time. Like I would end up just like punching you in the eyeball. I would be like, who are you talking to? Honestly, stop doing that. I have found daddy. Doms love daddy title because they are very protective, take care of you types usually. Yes, this is true because they do protect your emotions. They are a caregiver, usually first, and a dominant second. But I do know daddy doms that identify as daddy doms that do not like being called daddy for whatever reason. A few of them I know don't like it because they have small children that refer to them as daddy, so it makes them uncomfortable for their partner to call them that, unless they're obviously talking for the children. And so usually there is a different word that's used. Some are just uncomfortable with it. Like it just doesn't feel like a natural thing. Would Nicole or Katie like to be called Mama Love, Mommy Sugar, or Mammy Desire? What?
Again, Shannon, step away from the keyboard and Google.
I'm sorry. If Nicole ever came on to a live and was like, I am now Mammy Desire, I would laugh at her.
I would be laughing too. I would expect questions. What drugs did you take before you come on screen? You weird ass, get away.
Nicole is clearly under the influence today.
Yeah,
we love that for her.
Yeah.
But we don't really know what's going on. So
you
also,
know.
I feel like that would just make Katie super uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't have a desire to be called mommy in any situation, setting whatsoever.
I don't even like my kids calling me mummy.
Yeah, so
I'm mum. That's it. Yeah. That's
like,
it.
Coda, do you have a gay male version of the daddy phrase that you like?
Yeah, that's a hard no.
There's a line and you're crossing it right now, so you can go.
What you've learned here is that I am the only person.
The last time somebody called me daddy, dude, it was when I still dated girls. I was 17. And she called me, she said, "I Poppy." And she was white. And I said, "Shh."
So what we've learned here today.
Hi, Poppy? Really? Like,
I stopped in mid thrust.
That's when Coda knew. Coda was like, and that's over.
He said, I stopped.
And I'm out.
Can you say what now?
Okay, so what we've learned here today, friends, is that I'm the only person that calls any man. I do not call my father daddy, okay, at all. My stepmom refers to my biological dad when she talks to me, and she'll be like, "Have you called your daddy lately?" And she's stopped doing that because the last time she did that, I said, "No, I don't currently have one," and she got kind of offended by that. So now she just says, "Have you called your dad lately?" Which, like, is fine. You can call him dad or father. Or I call my biological dad Padre. I don't even call him dad because I call my stepdad dad. So it's fine. But what we've learned here is I'm the only one in any capacity that calls any man daddy. Okay. Just me. And it's only one man at this point. The other man, his privileges have been revoked. Where doms may be more harsh in commands. Yeah. So a hard dom, so maybe Katie, it would be easier if I refer to them as like hard doms and soft doms. So a hard dom is going to be somebody who is probably in like a master slave style dynamic or a more traditional dominant submissive dynamic where they are dominant either part of the time or all of the time over their submissive. It depends on what your dynamic looks like. A soft dom is going to be more of like your daddy dom kind of dom where they make sure that like your well-being is taken care of. Not saying that hard doms do not make sure your well-being is taken care of. If they're good doms, then they do, but it's in a different way. A soft dom is going to be more of like your caretaker kind of person. Yeah, and a hard dom tends to like to be called sir or master. I've heard king before, which makes me feel gross. Yeah, there can be different variations. Yeah, but they are different, and they do tend to go by certain names, but there are plenty of soft doms that don't want to be called daddy. So, also littles are kind of different than baby girls, except yeah. So littles tend to, so there's such a thing as like age play, which personally makes me uncomfortable. But if that's your thing, that's cool. Which would essentially be like what I described as being like when I'm like in little space, but sexual, but like you are willing to be sexual in that time. Not for me. Okay. Like I'm not trying to have the mindset of a 12-year-old and then like have sex with somebody. It's weird to me. But baby girls tend to not be age players necessarily. They can be. But baby girls tend like if you only identify as a baby girl, right? So like if you have a daddy dom, then you identify as a baby girl. It tends to be like your stereotypical, like what people assume a DDLG relationship is, where they're like wearing bows in their hair and like frilly dresses, and they use like sippy cups and things like that, which can also happen for littles. It's actually why that like part of my like little side is that I gravitate toward cups with straws. That's just a thing for me. But I have found that baby girls tend to be more into age play than littles are. Littles, it's almost like two separate beings, I guess. Because like I'm not, like me personally, I'm not trying to do anything sexual if I'm in little space. Like just leave me alone to like color and watch Disney movies. Thank you. So thank you so much on that. You know, when I feel like an adult again, then we can talk about that. And there you go. Thank you, Rowley. Honestly, I appreciate the assistance. But Rowley also is innocent and knows nothing. So she's just Googling, you know? She's just Googling for us. Poppy or daddy thing just doesn't do it for me. I'll try most things once, but that was just yeah. And it's not going, like, it won't be for everyone to do that. So I in no way want people to think that I'm like, if you are in a DDLG dynamic, you have to call your D-type daddy, because that's weird and not true. Riley loves when they call them Poppy and then laughs and then hides. Shannon is Yum Chops. Wow, this became really unhinged, really. Father Love sounds like a priest or something.
That's what I was thinking. It sounds like that's like, is it a religious experiencing year after?
I mean, he's got a vision.
Also, Brooklyn's partner is Owen, not Katie's.
So, like, I could ask him, but I feel like that'd be weird, seeing as how I've never spoken to this man before. But sure. Next time Brooklyn's on, I'll ask him.
But if Katie could ask her partner, I feel like Katie's husband would not want to be called either of these things.
So first things first, he went to sleep. I can hear him snoring even though he told me he wasn't going to go to sleep. So there's that. But he's out. He's out like a light. He's done. But no, my husband, he would not. He would not enjoy that. He'd probably ask me what's wrong with me. But he probably also wouldn't be surprised because I tend to be crazy. So he'd be like, "Oh, great. He'll be like, you can't go to Unhinged podcast anymore." No.
Basically, Katie would be grounded from us forever. That's
so not true. He doesn't own me, so like he doesn't tell me what to do. So that doesn't
He
really
would probably
happen.
be like, I would prefer if you did not hang out with your friends that refer to their partners as Daddy Yum Chop. And then Katie would be like, well, that's nice, but also.
Thank you for your opinion. Not gonna do that.
But I will change your name to Daddy Pork Chop. There, compromise.
I mean, I definitely could.
By this entire conversation. Dang Yum Chops. Yeah. I don't know what this is in reference to.
I think we're talking about being I don't know.
I don't know either. Covers Coda's face right now because making me laugh. Okay, so here are some of the top dom names for men. Headmaster. No.
Dumbledore?
Mr. Okay, so I've heard Mr. before. Maestro.
Prong handler.
Love Daddy. Dominus. Prong handler. Jackhammer. Daddy hot. Absolutely not. No. No.
Prong handler? Really? Oh my goodness.
I believe grunting is pigs. Oh god. I like Jackhammer. Yeah. Could you imagine? Here's what I'm imagining. And maybe it's because
imagine being the neighbor and hearing someone call this out.
Here's what I'm imagining. And maybe because I've been in situations before, like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, okay? What's the point? You know everything about me at this point. I've definitely called my former partner. I definitely have, like, in public referred to him as Daddy. Okay, that's definitely a thing. Now I'm not like screaming it to the winds. It's like in the grocery store when I'm standing right next to him and I have a question. You know what I'm saying? But could you imagine if you were just like shopping casually and someone was like, "Hey, Jackhammer, can you get me that bread?"
A really good friend of mine's dad's name is Jack, and his name isn't Jack. But everybody calls him Jack because his nickname was Jackhammer.
But could you, like, it sounds like a cuss word. If I'm like, "Hey, Jackhammer, grab me that bread," it sounds like I'm cussing somebody out.
I don't know. Like, if somebody wants to holler at me and call me a jackhammer, like in the moment, that might piss me off less than all the other things.
Oh,
good to know.
I might be like weirded out for a minute, but I might be like, that's kind of a compliment.
I feel like it's a bit of it would possibly come across as a positive thing.
Yeah.
I mean, what have we learned to each?
I mean, I'm not going to feed into it. I'm not going to be like, that's right, I'm your jackhammer.
You know you do. You will.
You say that now, Coda. Don't knock it till you try it. You never know.
Yeah, that's it.
Rally says,
by the way,
Days will be coming down and knocking on your door and going, "Bitch, you've been too loud."
Like, excuse me, are you running a jackhammer down here? You damn right I am.
Oh my. Rally,
on that note, I have to go.
Katie has to leave us now.
I do. It's because I have to be up in a couple hours to go live life, and I'm going to try not to be a zombie, but it was fun to be able to catch up because I haven't been able to be here in a while. So yeah. But, Shannon, I look forward to Shannon's questions next time. And I look forward to actually doing the Unhinged podcast and getting a little drunk and, yeah, all that good stuff. All right.
We're gonna have so much fun.
It's gonna be wild, wild, wild.
It'd be literally so wild.
Oh
If
gosh.
I lose Patreon supporters after it, I won't even be upset. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, this wasn't for you, so it's okay."
We'll have to have like a
are we
little
still doing
disclaimer in the
snake
beginning.
wife thing? Are we discussing that too?
The
What's that?
what?
The
Oh, Snake Wife? Oh yeah, I have
Yeah.
no
We have to.
for
Yeah.
Snake Wife. I feel like that should be like the first
Yeah,
episode.
so I guess I have homework. I thought we were talking about Saltburn first. See.
No, I think
So
we were talking
watch
about
that.
Snape Wives first because that was the first thing that ever came up. Was I brought up
Yeah,
Snape
snake
Wives?
wives, then Saltburn.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we can get
Well, we can
drunk
probably
and talk
squeeze both
about
into
Snape
the
Wives.
same episode.
I'm probably gonna
We
need a
probably could.
drink to talk about Snape Wives. To be honest, it's
I'm gonna need a drink to watch Snape Wives. Where the fuck do I
It's-
even watch it?
On
just
YouTube.
type in Snape Wives on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Then okay, then
Yeah.
I
Yeah, there's a couple of YouTubers that have covered Snape Wives.
Okay, I'll do my homework.
It's wild, to be honest. Bye, Katie.
Goodbye, guys.
Night,
Have a good night
Katie.
day. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Tries to be good. It's fine. Raleigh. It's really fine. A switch is me. Okay. Yeah. So a switch is just where you can be dominant or submissive. But usually a switch will lean to one side or the other more, but they can be both. I had not realized that Daddy Dom was separate from regular Dom. Okay, yeah. I thought it was a faction, but not at a different level of intensity. Yeah, it tends to be a Daddy Dom tends to be a soft Dom. And then like what is considered as like regular Doms tend to be more hard Doms. So they tend to be more rules heavy. Like Daddy Doms have rules, but think of like the rules that you have for like this is such I hate comparing it to this, but I don't know how else to do it. So like the rules that like you would have for someone that you're caring for, like a child, as opposed to like another adult. If that makes sense. Because hard doms, their submissives tend to function as adults all the time, while daddy doms, their submissives won't necessarily be in an adult headspace all the time. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if it did. Oh no. Top submissive names for women. Where are you getting these? Pincushion. Okay. Kitten. So I've heard kitten
before.
I've even like been called that. The people that have wanted to refer to me as some kind of like an animal name, which like it doesn't bother me. I'm not into like pet play, but like it doesn't bother me. A lot of them refer to me more as like a puppy because like I am not like a cat at all. Like I tend to be more like soft, like a puppy dog. Good girl, I've definitely heard that. Bitch, okay. Love puddle, no. Wafflerella.
Love puddle is disconcerting.
That's kind of graphic.
Little lady, Princess Rosebud, Kajira, and Baby Girl. So the only ones I've actually Pincushion I feel would be more of like a degradation term, not so much like a
like pincushions, what you call the woman you're sharing in a group of dogs.
Yeah, I feel like that would be more for somebody that has a submissive that has a degradation. You know, kitten, good girl. I've heard all those. I've heard baby girl. I've heard bitch, but again, that tends to fall into the degradation territory. Like usually you're not just like going around calling your submissive a bitch. Unless she's into that, I guess. But usually that's like the rest of them are ridiculous. No offense to wherever you found these names, but like the Wafflerella, who is saying that? No. Love Baby Girl's voice so cute. I don't know how to explain it well. That's okay. Me either. And I don't even know if I'm making sense at this point. I feel like I'm just rambling. Questions, so creative. Shannon is very creative. Gags at the mama names. Yeah, terrible. Not. To each their own. Exactly. I mean, I've never, like, if I've heard, like, I've been, like, in dungeons and stuff where, like, I've heard people refer to their D types as, like, different things. And it doesn't make me uncomfortable to hear someone else refer to their D type as whatever, because, like, that's their thing. I mean, I'm not going to call them that, but, like, that's between you and them, you know? Kiana says daddy to her husband sometimes. That's fair. Also, baby girls that are just grown women who like to be pampered and protected. Yes, this is also true. This is also true. And they usually fall into a DDLG dynamic. Boys too. Or non-binary people as well. Rally. Entertaining myself in chat. It's totally fine. LOL, Nicole at neighbors hearing.
No, it's more like
Imagine.
take it, you dirty patch of pavement.
Wow. Not dirty patch of pavement. God dang. Go to it.
You're getting reconstructed today.
Everyone's saying goodbye to me. I would rather hear prong handler over daddy yum chops. The latter makes me feel like
I feel like that is a good choice. That is a good choice.
would have to stop and look at them crazy with either name. Oh, this was about me differentiating between DOMs. You're welcome. Also, this is just, I just want everyone to know, like, you can do your own research also, okay? The information that I give when asked questions is just simply from my own understanding and my own experiences. So, like, please do your own research if you have, like, really deep questions. Waffarella, really? What the hell? Yeah, that's what I said. Love puddle. Absolutely not. If someone called me a love puddle, I would be like, this is my cue that we are not meant to be. One of the guys I date, I call fluffy butt, which that's fair. I mean, I will never, here's my thing. I will never judge someone else's name for their partner because, like, it's not, I don't know why you call your partner that. You know what I mean? Now, it is jarring, like, even in, like, a dungeon or BDSM setting, it is jarring to, like, hear a D type refer to their S type as, like, a degradation name. Like, to just hear someone being called, like, a bitch or a whore or a slut. But that's mostly because, like, in society, that's, like, those aren't names that you refer to people as that you love. You know what I mean? So it can be, like, jarring, but I'm not going to be like, ew, why would you call them that? Like, I don't know what else dynamic is. The girl I was dating, I called tea cake or baby girl or sweet buns. They loved it and shrugs. Whatever works for y'all. Wafflerella is a person working at a pancake restaurant. I can't imagine any scenario where Wafflerella would be used. Me either.
Unless someone was hungry for pancakes at the time and got confused.
This is your dirty patch minute. Oh my god! Could you imagine, bro? Could you imagine? If you
I just run in the room and I'm like, it's demolition time.
Oh my Lord. Oh, this is what is happening. It was interesting in my book that Rosebud is also used for gay men as well, but in the book they say Mr. Rosebud is the proper submissive name.
So, Rosebud is a term for asshole, and it's not always a pretty asshole. Look that up again.
I think this is in her like BDSM book, like for names that you call
Hang
like.
on a second. You have a book? Where did you go to get your book?
That's what I want to know because these names are.
And did you go to the library and did you take footage of the look on the woman's face or the man
There's
or
gotta
the
be
person that checked that out?
there's gotta be
you.
some kind of market for people like Shannon. It's like I don't know, conversationdrivers.com.
Yeah. Oh. I'm surprised Mia hasn't come in here and asked me for food yet. It's 5 o'clock. She's normally dead on.
I'm surprised I'm still awake. It must have been that huge Thai tea I drank.
This is the end of the comments. Wait, we got another one. Shannon has a whole shelf of books.
Books, yeah.
You might.
She's got the original, what is it? Britannica encyclopedia set.
Oh my lord. Names
That's why the names are so out of date.
So,
names.
A submissive, Mr. Coxicle, Cum Dump, Dolphin, and Face Fuck.
I've never heard Dolphin, but I've heard the rest. Not in person.
I was going to say, this is telling us a little bit about you, Kate.
I don't get the Dolphin one. But
that's for when you read pod.
Yeah, save it for that. I'm excited.
Oh my god.
He said not in person.
Not in person.
Shannon annotated and highlighted. Nice.
Her books.
There's old school tape recordings too. Voice memo.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Goodness.
Okay, so this is literally the end of the comments.
Yeah, I'm tired, guys.
Bro, me too. That's what I was about to say. It must be like, listen, I said I could make it till 2 and it's like officially after 2 a.m. here. So proud of myself.
For those playing at home.
I love how it's 5 p.m. for Nicole. I love how Nicole comes on like these after dark style sprints. It's like not even after dark for her. It's like the middle of the day. And she's like, it's fine.
Except for the days where we go till 6 a.m. and then she makes it till like midnight.
Yeah. I have been on after dark in my time.
Do we have anything that we want to promote? Is anything coming up for y'all?
Harry Potter on Sunday.
Yeah.
Monday.
My first Women's Prize for Fiction video went up today. And thank you to all the people that unsubscribed. That was nice of you.
Unsubscribed?
Yeah. A few people unsubscribed today. Every time I post a video, people unsubscribe.
Rude?
Yes, truly. It's awesome. It's great for the ego. Makes me feel so special.
I have
those people don't count anyway, so
they're not scheduled. I need to schedule them. I'll schedule them when I get off here. I have sprints on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is 1 p.m. for me. They'll run from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. my time, unless I choose to go later. But they're for a Word Nerdathon. Before me on Sunday will be Julie. I think she starts at 8 a.m. Eastern. And then tomorrow, or well, later today, rather, Saturday.
And then we go, and then you're coming over to Harry Potter at 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then Margaret has sprints from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. today, which is Saturday. So Saturday for me. She has sprints all day for Word Nerdathon. But yes, then I am going to come over from my sprints and I'm going to go join Nicole and Coda for Harry Potter.
Because we start at 7, don't we?
I think so. Yeah. And I'll be
See,
working on
it's
this. I'll be working on this during here.
Yeah, we start at 7 Eastern.
Yeah, so I'll come over straight from my sprints to
And you guys, Katie has sprints on Sunday morning also.
Well, I'll be
10 Eastern.
So I'll be an hour late
We're just wrapping up.
coming over, Nicole, on Sunday.
Say that again.
We'll overlap.
I think she said she's going to be an hour late.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear what I said? I don't know. We will overlap on Sunday. We'll overlap for 1 hour.
Yeah.
So I'll come over after mine are over. But I'll be working on
what time do you finish on Sunday?
8 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
And I'm going to work on Harry Potter. Which is
so
cute.
Sweet.
But I have Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Hagrid to work on. I'll be working on Harry
around in between on everybody else's sprints. So
yeah. So it'll be
Shannon says that she has poster notes in her books because she's fascinated by all the sex things that others use for their partners.
I thought you were talking about me for a second.
Have you finished such sharp tea?
Oh yeah, you didn't see all my messages.
No, I've been busy all day. Oh,
you need to go listen to my my first voice messages from when I read chapter 14, or maybe it was 13. Whenever chapter has the boots in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it either. People just are weird. Every time I put a video up, I get unsubscribed from, so that's fine. I embrace it now. I actually look at it, go, I wonder how many are unsubscribed from this video.
It's gonna happen, and it's probably nothing to do with your video. It's probably just, after you get so many subscriptions, your feed gets really full, and not all of them are videos that you watch all the time, and so
no, it's cool. I think it's funny. It's like it goes up and then it goes down, and it goes up and then it goes down.
I just unsubscribed from Looper because I was like, I'm done with these silly movie videos.
Thomas, you should be up to chapter 9.
Yeah, 9 by Sunday, Monday.
You should have read through chapter 8, so you should be at the top of chapter 9.
And then Sunday, Monday, we'll be going to the top of 15.
And all the information is over in the in Dusty's Discord on the Harry Potter server.
That's
I will say though, I have noticed there was a UK Chatty, the Mad Chatterer, put up a video today. She and has shared it across just about every Discord that I'm in about the St. Martin's Press boycott. So people in the UK are starting to hear about it.
I will have a library book haul, which was requested by Jean, so I'm going to do it. I didn't really think anyone cared to see a library book haul. I'll have that going up next week, and then I'm vlogging the weekend since I'm doing Jan's Patreon readathon. I'm vlogging that, so that will go up sometime next week also.
I'm also currently editing my second NetGalley vlog for Tuesday. So I should finish that tonight and have that going up on Tuesday.
Wow,
and then I'm still editing the Buddy Read one from February. Bloody hell. 3 Harry Potter ones in there. Like, there's so much in there. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. What a wild ride that was, February. I'm still editing that. So I think that'll probably go up on Thursday. And then next Saturday I'll have the second Women's Prize for Fiction one go up. So You're getting just about getting a video off me every day next week, from Sundays right through to next Saturday and to the following Sunday. Because I start with a short tomorrow. Brings on Monday.
It's still a mystery when I'll put out my first video. So, you know, I'm pretty sure everybody here is subscribed to me, though. So you'll find out when it happens. Yeah. It'll be great.
So that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm so
Don't forget to join Neva's Patreon too for the Unhinged podcast coming soon.
If you want Unhinged episodes, then $8 tier. Otherwise, there are 3 other tiers that you can subscribe to that you'll get other bonus stuff. My videos go up on Patreon, like they're given to the patrons before they're put up on the main feed. So just keep that in mind, which means that I'm probably gonna have to screw around with like what days I'm actually gonna upload, but that's fine. And now that I moved, Patreon content will be a regular thing. I am going to be recording my my smut video, Patreon exclusive smut video. Which is going to be a little bit different because like I was looking through what smut like I had actually read, and everything is part of a freaking series. So like I don't feel like I can talk in depth about books that are like 2 or 3 books into a freaking series. You know what I'm saying?
We'll just read new short smut. It's fine.
So I'm just going to. The first smut video is going to be a recommendations video of smut books that I enjoy on Kindle Unlimited. But the reason it's going to be Patreon exclusive is because I can actually talk in depth about the books on Patreon, which I can't necessarily do on YouTube. So if you want to see that video, go subscribe to, I think my smut video starts at the $6 tier. I think. So that's like the 3rd tier.
I'd have to go look. I don't remember.
Yeah, so I think it's a $6 tier. So go subscribe if you want extra bonus materials. If you don't, then thank you so much for supporting our channels. I'll link everybody down below. And we'll see your beautiful faces in the next one. Goodbye.